On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will be talking with the talented Devin Doty, who creates rad Star Wars fan art and also does awesome commission projects for the likes of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sensei Kreese. After the interview, the boys will discuss Boba's motives in the Book of Boba Fett, as well as a potential Fett family armor update. They'll then ponder the rumor that the Mandalorian may undergo a name change before talking about some new Disney Plus content and the Terrifying Tales Lego special. As always, to close things out, the dudes will feature fan responses from this week's Question of the Week, and they'll also lavish praise on this week's Top 5 featured Star Wars artists. Punch it, Chewie!
Hey now, everybody! Welcome back to the Star Wars Time Show, and boy, oh girl, is it a special one. And it's not only because Nick and I didn't fight before the show, it's because it's an interview type of Star Wars Time Show. That's right, my friends. If you're on the live stream, you can see our friend, one of our greatest champions, one of our wrenches in the live stream. He's a wrench. I'm talking about none other than our boy at @super_scoundrel, who also goes by Devin, and hopefully I get this correct. I'm guessing Doty? Devin Doty? All right, correct. Excellent. How's it going, Devin? Glad to have you on the show finally.
Good. Thanks for having me.
All right, we had your...
Finally. I'm surprised we didn't do this like 2 years ago.
I know. We're dickheads. We take too long to do a lot of stuff, and that's probably why we're getting left in the dust. But you're here now, finally. Justin, your buddy, was on the show a few months ago, showing off his collection. But today we're going to talk to Devin about obviously his love of Star Wars, or if he hates it. We think he likes it, but you never know. As well as his art form that he dedicates to Star Wars on occasion on his Instagram account at @super_scoundrel. Now, for those of you that have been around the block with the SWTS, you may well know that we consider ourselves the champions of Super Scoundrel, and why
we made his account,
why he has reached 34,000 followers to date. Now, we're a bunch of jerk-offs, so you understand we're just screwing around, and it's his talent and his skills and his art that has made his account blow up since we first found him. But Devin, it really, your Instagram journey, your vector art, it has freaking blown up over the past couple years, huh? I remember when we first found you, you were like sub 10,000, just kicking around, sharing some of your vector art.
I was like sub 3,000.
Holy shit. And now look at this. Look at what has happened over the past 2 years, because I think we keyed into Super Scoundrel shortly after Celebration 2019, I think is when we first found his excellence.
I think it was... Yeah, that's right. I think the first thing I did that you guys saw was my Sith Trooper.
Oh, yes. That was right when
I think that's when they first revealed the look of the Sith Troopers.
Yeah, it's just, it's been a love relationship ever since. He's one of my personal favorite Star Wars artists out there. I know Nick has chosen him multiple times for our top 5 fan segment. So it's great to finally have him on here. And, we'll get to know a little bit more about the man behind that digital pen, who is now working with all sorts of big-time celebs thanks to his skills. So we'll get there. We'll figure out how much cashola he's now making, how many penthouses he now owns. But Devin, first, we always kind of like to figure out who our guests are as a Star Wars fan, or unfan, not fan, I guess, what would you call it? But so, let's get down to it. Is Star Wars something that has been with you your entire life, or did it come to you later on, either through a friend, a parent, siblings, family members? How did Devin get into wanting to make art about Star Wars?
Well, I would say my preschool to kindergarten phase was more Ninja Turtles, so I went through that first. But in like '97, when they re-released the Star Wars movies in theaters for the special edition, then my uncle took me to see A New Hope in theater.
Got you.
So I guess I'm special edition era.
Are you in the OT era in terms of your age? You know, we never like to out our guests' age. We don't know if they'll be offended. But I mean, were you someone born in the '80s, or are you a '90s baby?
I'm turning 33 in like a couple.
So you're
weeks.
like young Nick then.
So
You're like young Nick.
Devin's the same age as me.
I'm not
I
as old
just
as
turned
you, so I'm not ashamed of my age.
He's not.
Yeah. It's weird because we're like the tweeners, you know, like we weren't really alive when all of the OT movies came out, but we were like we had seen Star Wars, at least for me, before, and for you, before the prequel trilogy came out. So like we fall in like a weird middle ground to where it's like we could claim either one. It's really up to our discretion which one we want to claim.
You know, I've noticed a trend, and I think we could do a scientific fictional study, if you will, here. And it does seem like people or Star Wars fans born in, 60s, 70s, 80s obviously gravitate towards the originals, but a lot of us have the same story. It's usually a family member, a brother, a father, a mother took us as kids. And I've also kind of realized a trend with, yourself, Nick, and you, Devin. Those of you born later in the 80s, early 90s, it seems that you are, like Nick said, you're kind of caught in the middle where a lot of the times it's later on in your life where you're not really getting it like I did, kind of injected into your eyeballs from the first time you could even form thought. But there is, and I would assume for those like my daughter born in the late 2000s, they'll have an even different experience because they may gravitate towards the sequel stuff. So interesting. A TMNT guy, huh? Me too. Like the good stuff, right? The original stuff out there in the 80s, late 90s. Who's that? Kevin Eastman.
Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird.
So have you got sucked up in collecting all those NECA figures then of the what I consider to be the greatest live action Ninja Turtles movie to date?
That movie, it is so underrated. I mean, not underrated by Ninja Turtles.
It's fantastic.
But I mean, it was like so gritty and like I don't know. It was amazing.
Nick, are you down with I think it was the '89 TMNT movie? Is that something you have fond memories for?
Oh, absolutely. Like the original TMNT live action trilogy, I was a huge fan.
Yeah, it gets a little weird with, Vanilla Ice and
Turtles in Time.
The samurai one.
Yeah. Ninja.
Turtles in Time gets a little weird.
Ninja. Rap, it got a little.
I
used to have the Ninja Rap as my cell phone ringtone.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go!
I fucking
go
love
Ninja,
that
go Ninja, go! Yeah, I mean it definitely is catchy. I'm sitting here still singing it, so
I feel like that song is like still paying Vanilla Ice's
It
bills.
is. I mean, between that and Ice Ice Baby, that's really all that guy needed to do. I mean, he cashed in on those two songs, and he's probably still getting paid for them if he kept his licenses. So, all right, I'm down with that. I mean, I guess the special editions is an interesting way to kind of come into the films. So you hadn't seen George's original versions at all then? The special editions are what you first experienced with the original trilogy.
Yeah, but one sec, someone's like trying to call me.
This,
all right.
It's Kendall Jenner getting in touch. I need a new design.
More on that later, people. That's the tease. But yeah, I mean, this guy knows Kendall personally.
Oh God! I mean, I'm trying to get those tickets, but
you got 3 of them on the box.
Right now, I just talked to the middleman. But,
yeah. But anyways, back to the question.
Special editions were the first ones I saw. I got that you know, that classic like gold VHS case that came
Oh yeah.
with all three of them in it. And like during that time period, like the toys would come with like a paper slip in them that said like, do you want to become a member of the Star Wars fan club? But it was pretty much just a sign up for Star Wars Insider subscription.
Hell yeah. Nick's
and
holding
like
up the
one
case.
of the first insiders I got had the first reveal of the battle droids, and I was like, holy shit, like this is perfect timing.
Yeah.
Now they're making new ones right as I'm getting into these movies.
You make a great point. I mean, people that would have just come into it in the mid 90s, it really, I believe would they run like 96, 97, I think were when the special editions came out. You know, so 2 years down the road, you're already getting a brand new movie. Where a lot of us, you know, we thought George was done after Yub Nub and everyone was happy and the ghosts were chilling and it was real Anakin and not Hayden Anakin and all that fun stuff. So I'm guessing someone that only knows the special editions, have you gone back and have you tried to watch George's original cuts of the 4, 5, and 6, or it's like, who gives a shit? This is what he wanted. This is what it is now.
I think I've just seen like pieces of it on YouTube. I don't think I've seen like the full-on movies.
You can't get them anymore either. Like the original versions are not for sale.
Yeah,
anywhere,
Nick, it's
unless
the
you find them on eBay.
It's I think the last offering you could get them on were the DVDs of the entire 6 movie set when they thought they were stopping there. Because I remember each DVD of the original movies has the special cut and an old school like 4x3 letterbox version of the original cuts. Yeah. No updates to any of it, so they look like complete shit technically. You know, like just like they came out of George's fucking basement in the 70s. But yeah, I mean, they used to. I remember the special editions amongst, you know, people like me. They used to be hotly debated. But then the prequel showed up and kind of sucked all that air out of that discussion into the new thing to bitch about for Star Wars fans, which was the prequels, and then we moved on to bitching about the Clone Wars, and then we moved on to bitching about The Last Jedi, and here we are.
Yep.
Always got to be bitching about something. So
I'm tired of the fandom wars.
Yeah,
man. I'm getting too old for this.
It is insane, and we all know I'm insane, and sometimes I take some pretty hardline stances here on the show. But in the end, outside of, you know, trying to get a rise out of people and just being a jerk off online, I typically enjoy a lot of Star Wars. I don't give a fuck what people like Star Wars, as long as, you know, their points for not liking it aren't ridiculous, like politically motivated or all this nonsense that a lot of them get wrapped up in now. So yeah,
you're just stuck on Boba Fett.
I love him now, though. I love him. We're going to be talking about him today. We're going to be talking about him today and where we think things are going based on a report that was released last week. And I don't know, through War of the Bounty Hunters and obviously The Mandalorian, and I know what Robert did in Book of Boba. I mean, he is becoming one of my Star Wars favorites, so I can change my tune. You just got to give me evidence that allows me to accept what was being put out there of Boba Fett being this pimp. And he is becoming that. He is becoming that. So I'm excited, and I like what we're getting or what we're hearing about the Book of Boba Fett and what some of his motives may be in that series. But for now, we're talking to our boy at @super_scoundrel on Instagram. Great vector artist, designer for the stars. That's his official title these days. All right, so yeah, I think you're our first one to just be introduced via the special edition, so I dig that. I dig it, even though they fucked up the Yub Nub song. For the most part.
Oh, you forgot that I'm also a moderator of the Star Wars Time Show.
That's
chat.
right.
Yeah, that's got to be
my biggest claim to
He is
fame.
one of our wrenches.
title.
I think we have 3 wrenches in total, and Devin is one of them, so we speak your name again, Devin. Thank you. I don't know. Special editions have definitely gotten better over the years. They used to bother me. I could give a shit at this point in time. I even accept the Vader no in Return of the Jedi now, which is
That was a hard.
Yeah, which is something that used to give me heartburn.
I don't think I have.
It is.
That's a hard
it's
one.
like I've just come to terms with it. Like, you know, maybe Anakin's a little dopey and he does like to say no a lot. So he's sitting there, his head's turned, and he's looking at his son getting fried. He's looking at his master, and he's like, no.
He had to get it out. He had to get those emotions going. So, I mean, I'm okay with it now. I will say that it's hard for me to even remember the original editions because I had them on like recorded VHS. So my friend had the actual trilogy pack, and I took the tapes and I made copies. And I mean, like I watched them to death, but I don't even have them here anymore. I mean, they may be lost to time completely. I remember they were at once sitting on a shelf in Louisiana, and I don't even know if my parents got rid of them or what. Like trying to go back and remember like, you know, specific stuff that I may have forgotten from the originals. It's hard now because you don't get to see it.
It's been a while. I still think the movie that was least fucked with is Empire.
Empire.
I know they
Empire
replaced
had
the Emperor. They added some CG shit to Bespin, but outside of that, I think that one remained fairly untouched. Which
I was gonna say, Devin may never have seen Monkey Emperor.
That's right. Did you know that? You know the scene in Empire where Vader is talking to Palpatine for the first time?
Yeah.
It was actually an old dude's face and monkey eyeballs is what they used for it. Where now they actually
like someone posted that recently, and I was looking at it. It was like a behind the scenes on that.
It's crazy. And they just they dubbed our boy Ian in there now.
Disturbing.
All right, Devin. So,
but also Return of the Jedi had that. Was the song with the like that?
Oh, that song
like that
is
band
awful.
And that like
the new song in Jabba's palace that's sung by that ding dong guy. It is so bad. That's where you got Boba Fett again, just making him look like a jerk off. He's sitting there like flirting with that one girl. It's terrible. Like we just needed the Snice Snoodles song. That's it. That you're right. I'm glad you reminded me of that because that is probably one of the worst edits in the special edition. It's getting rid of Yub Nub in Jedi and adding that dumbass song to the Jabba's palace encounter. Very good. Very good. I forgot about that. Now I wasn't feeling angry today, but now you just pushed the button. So now I got a little bit of that hate flowing through me. That's what I need, just like Anakin. All right, Devin. So, assuming you continued your fandom after the mid '90s, you're excited with Insider. I think a lot of us signed up, like you said, kind of got scammed into signing up for Insider. But I'm glad I did because it was a great little magazine. I don't get it any longer. But it was great when all the prequel stuff was coming out because that was, you got to remember, my friends, we didn't have the internet that exists today back then. We couldn't just go on StarWarsTime.net and check out, some leaked concepts or official concept art. You literally had to wait for a fucking magazine to get printed. Or, what Ain't It Cool News might find something and scan it up there. But there was nothing back in the prequel eras in terms of content to dig into.
Right. I was so into the toys that, Christmas time, I'm just like up, like my face is stuck in like the toy section of the magazine. And they also had this section where they're talking about like multi-$1,000 statues and busts of characters, life-size Han and Carbonite.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I can't wait till I grow up and I can spend like $15,000, $20,000 on this. Well, life-size Han.
Now I'm wishing I didn't grow up and get money to spend all that money because I've actually done that, and it's like sometimes I look around my basement and just go, my goodness, dude. The items or the investment in your family's future that you could be doing right now versus buying all these little Star Wars Barbie is ridiculous. But hey, they make me happy. I like looking at them. Sometimes I like touching them. But mostly just looking at them. So I get it.
Occasional picture.
I mean, we Devin, he's got a great setup. I know the way we have the camera position now, you can't see a lot of his stuff. But I mean, I'm seeing multiple Grogu's back there. He's got a cutout of Din holding Grogu. So he does it correctly.
Force Awakens poster.
Oh, yeah. He's legit.
I don't go too crazy though. My stuff isn't like I've got like framed theatrical posters and stuff and like a few statues around. Yeah. But
so you're saying your
like
room doesn't look like the inside of a TGIF Fridays like mine does, where it's just like random pictures and shit hanging up on every bit of wall space.
I mean, there is Star Wars shit everywhere. It's just not the most expensive stuff you can get.
It happens.
Like Star Wars props has like shelves of.
I don't
like helmet, like
$5,000 props.
SW props. Like, I hope he makes a ton of money because he's going to need to buy his own warehouse at some point in time. Like it's going to need to be, controlled with its own HVAC system. And that dude has so much cool shit. It's ridiculous.
Justin will eventually, like, what he should do is, like, his aim should be when he gets older and has a bunch of shit, he opens a Star Wars prop museum. Like, that's what he really should do.
He could be the next Steve Sansweet. When Steve dies, Justin can inherit all, Rancho Obi-Wan and kind of take that over for him. So
take it over.
All right.
I know he spent his. He told me not to tell his girlfriend that he was going to spend his pandemic stimulus on a life-size Yoda.
Attaboy, Justin. Hey, anything to jumpstart the economy, even if it's collectibles, we're down with it. All right, dude. So, back to kind of your Star Wars profile here. What would you say your favorite movie is out of all of them?
Rogue One.
All right, a Rogue Oneer. We've had a lot of Rogue Oneers.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that? I mean, not that it's a wrong answer, but is it just because it is different than the trilogies? What draws you to Rogue One?
I don't even think it's the best Star Wars. I would say like Empire to me is the best one, but like right now it's my favorite to watch because like it's got all the modern CG and graphics and stuff, and they did a great job with like making it feel like the Battle of Scarif. Like these guys are like actually running around on the beach and stuff. It's lots of practical stuff. But it's kind of like a great combination of a modern Star Wars movie and like OT.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I mean, a lot of people pick that. I mean, almost anyone will choose that as their favorite Disney Star Wars project. And I think Andor is going to kind of follow the structure of Rogue One in terms of what it looks like. Like you said, it brings kind of a realness to Star Wars, even though there are still spaceships and laser guns. But gritty is a good term. I think Rogue One definitely is the grittiest of Star Wars, and I'm hoping to see that carry over into Andor. So as a Rogue One fan, are you jazzed for Andor? Or are you like, who gives a shit? It's not Kenobi.
I think people need to stop sleeping on Andor. It's like it's actually one of my most hyped things right now. Like I know everybody's like going crazy over Kenobi, but I think it's going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, it is the one with the least hype behind it. I mean, you look at, even from the leaker community, as we call them, like they don't even seem to be, either they're not interested in getting information on that show, or like there's just not as many leaks around it, or
dude, you remember when they first started shooting? To me, it's the most leaked production yet, but that's because it seems like they tried to film in real world. Where
they were all out in public.
I mean,
I was just gonna mention that, like the setup that they have for Andor is crazy. Like the city that they built, like the full-on city. It looks like they're using like less volume stuff and just like
and
they built.
I think that
out.
goes back to your point on Rogue One, and I don't think you're wrong. I think Andor, when it's all said and done, even though it's not going to be starring one of Star Wars royalty, characters like Obi-Wan Kenobi, or these days Din Djarin, Grogu's, Boba Fett. I do, when it's all said and done, I think it's going to weave a tale that a lot of us are going to dig, because it's still covering that era that doesn't have a ton of content to it. I mean, It might brush up against some Rebels content. It might brush up against the tail end of some Solo, maybe tail end of some Kenobi. But it should tell a deeper story about the formation of the Rebels, what they had to do, maybe how Andor becomes one of their shadier operatives. I mean, let's not forget, at the beginning of Rogue One, he murders his fucking contact. Just fucking cold-blooded, right? Just snuffs him in the alley like, thanks, dude. Thanks for the info. Bam! We never saw Rebels do that shit. And I also think that's why Rogue One stands out, because it finally showcased that, hey, war is hell. And even the good guys are going to do shady stuff to win. And Andor, Cassian is our guy. So I think Devin is right. Yeah. It could very well be the next sleeper hit on Disney Plus. Almost do like a Mandalorian, where when we saw it, we were all like, "Sweet, the armor, cool," but we didn't know jack shit about the show. And now look at it; it has redefined Star Wars. It's redefined Star Wars storytelling. It's opened up all sorts of new narratives to tie into it. So. I'm with you. I think Devin he's an intelligent speculator of the Star Wars. All right, so character then. Is your favorite character a Rogue Oneer, or are you gonna go with one of the mains?
Probably got to go with Vader.
Yes, finally someone picked a bad guy.
That's a Rogue One character.
That's the first bad guy picked,
powerful,
I think.
But he's also got one-liners, Like, he doesn't always take himself too seriously.
Yeah, no, he is. That's a good call. And I think you said that because of Matt. You know that that Matt's a Vader homeboy. Look at the shirt right now. He's got the Vader shirt on. He's playing to the crowd.
Hell, I watch Revenge of the Sith on Sunday just to see Vader become Vader in the not so great way, but hey, it's the way we got. And it's funny because the little one fell asleep. We watched it outside, so you got to wait until the sun goes down on the big screen. She fell asleep all day yesterday. Hey, can we watch Revenge of the Sith? I'm like, no, that's a movie Daddy's got to give time to rewatch. I said, I'll make a deal with you. When we get through Clone Wars all the way through season 7, I'll watch it again because it ties directly into that. And she's like, all right, fuck you. So
she's like, what the fuck are you talking
she's like,
about? I'm 4.
She's like, I'm 5. I can watch the same shit over and over and over. I don't really care about your 41-year-old brain not wanting to rewatch Revenge of the Sith 10 hours after you just watched it. But that's a good pick. I think that's one of my favorite choices of one of our guests, Nick, because, obviously he's my number one. He's George's number one. George is on record. Without Vader, there is no Star Wars. He is Star Wars. Although, I guess JJ tried to want to make Palpatine Star Wars, but hey, whatever. Rey Palpatine, Rey Skywalker. You say tomato, I say tomato.
What was your favorite Vader scene? Because now there's a lot, and you can count. I'll count Revenge of the Sith in there too. So when he makes the switch over,
he's Vader.
When he feels down,
he's Vader without the armor and rots. Let's be clear.
So yeah, what's your favorite Vader?
Probably Empire, when he's like, Luke's got his hand chopped off and he's, the wind's blowing his cape back. He's standing with his arm outstretched. It's like very Shakespearean.
Yeah, it is. No, you're right. That's a good one. And I feel like that's probably the most iconic scene ever from Star Wars, period. I don't think that there's one that can really match that, because in the societal perception of Star Wars, that was what really, the first movie, introduced Star Wars in a very interesting way. But that particular scene in Empire was the one that was that's where everybody who wasn't a sci-fi fan was like, oh shit, it doesn't matter that Star Wars is about spaceships and laser swords. There's some deep storytelling that's happening here and everything. So I feel like if there's one scene that anybody knows, it's that
of course.
scene.
I mean, in pop culture in general, how many times you hear people speaking into fans or it's probably the most pop cultured Star Wars scene out there. What the hell was I going to say about Vader?
But let's be honest, that Rogue One hallway scene is.
I mean, come on, that is To me, I could watch that on loop at a movie theater, and pay $15 for it. 2 hours of just watching that saber light up and then going through and decimating everyone, and then let's do it again. It is. It's fantastic, and it's. I hope we get something similar, if not on steroids, in Kenobi. That scene showed the world. We all knew as Star Wars fans, but I think that scene showed the world that if you actually let Vader be Vader and give him time, give him the spotlight instead of all his whiny ass kids and shitty boss, it would hands down be the greatest Star Wars project ever released. There's no argument. If you had a Vader anything, even 30 ass minutes of Vader doing Vader at peak Vader, because that's what I was going to say. I think where Devin's at saying in Empire, I believe that was also peak Darth Vader, right? In terms of his power, his cockiness.
Yeah.
He was feeling good about himself, and now we know through the comic books that he was feeling so good about himself that Palpatine ripped him to shreds and made him rebuild himself.
Took him down.
Yeah, Empire was probably Vader at his best, and in his mind, I think he was really starting to feel like, I'm a motherfucking power, and like I could just, hey, I got my son, he and I can take over the galaxy now. Fuck this Palpatine dude. So we love you, Darth. We love you, even though you hate sand, but we love you. All right, Devin. So what's sometimes I pose this or pose it in this manner. If you had to try and sell Star Wars to, let's say, Din Djarin, who was locked up in a bunker for his entire life, what moment from the franchise would you describe to him? Like, what is your favorite? What is a standout moment from the Star Wars franchise that you feel like you could talk anyone into watching it after explaining this moment?
Oh man, maybe the trench run.
Trench runs. That's
a great
good
answer.
One,
a lot of people go to like.
But I also want to say Duel of the Fates.
Okay, all right. We'll give you two. We'll give you two. This is a Star Wars time show. We don't follow any strict rule set here. You can have two, but yeah.
But when I was in line to see Special Edition, that was my first time being in like a big ass movie queue, with everyone. Mm-hmm. And when my uncle was trying to explain like what this movie was, he was like, "There's this trench run at the end of the movie. You'll see. You're gonna love this shit."
So you're actually pulling from personal experience then, because that's what your uncle used to sell you on it. That's a good call.
Hey, look at that.
Because if you did like. Yeah. See, so now we're getting it right from a firsthand source.
I think that is like an Inception moment right there.
If you think about all of Star Wars too, the trench run is a unique perspective because you never really get that again. That first person, like, boom, you're coming down into it, and then like the tension just within that scene. You rarely got another moment like that, even in. ROTJ, where you're essentially running it back, you're doing the same thing, except it's a little bit more, like, CG.
I'm glad Devin brought it up because it is a scene. If you think about it, at least for me, the moment when it's just down to Luke, he's got the targeting computer out, and you can tell he's all fucking scatterfucked, right? I think R2's just about to be shot, so he's going to lose his assistance. And then, it's his theme or the Force theme starts to cue up. Old Ben comes over the Force radio and just says, let go. And that's a moment to this day. Even talking about right now, I want to break out the tissues and have a good Star Wars cry.
The tingles.
It is. It's a moment. Just reliving it in my head right now. I almost got a little sappy on everybody's ass right here. It can happen. It's happened on the show before. Just get me talking about Vader versus Luke and Return of the Jedi, and if it goes long enough, I'll probably start going like this. But no, it is. I mean, the trench run in that moment in particular, right before he makes the shot and Han shows up, and really Han showing up just kind of bookends the feels there, because
Yeah, Han's part hits me even harder.
Yeah.
Right, because
than
I don't know
Obi-Wan,
about you. Like the first time you saw
yeah.
it, you're like, man, what a dickhead. He's just leaving these guys. And then at the last minute, the right moment, the scoundrel shows up and saves the fucking day. I mean, without Han, Luke's toast. So, yeah, I mean, the Luke thinking and struggling to the Obi-Wan speech to Han showing up, basically pulling off the first on your left, right? What a scene.
Yeah.
I mean, bravo, Devin, bravo. I mean, I don't think people really analyze the trench run and how many just feel moments it can produce for us Star Wars fans. And then your other one was Duel of Fates, which, you know, of course. After Filoni blessed that with his gospel, every Star Wars fan has to mention that as being one of the most key moments in the entire franchise. Because as Lord Filoni explained, that's where everything goes south for Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Republic in general. Qui-Gon's death kind of fucked it all up. So beautiful. Yep. All right, so let's get into Devin's skill set here, which is being a badass illustrator, as he calls himself, and now a / graphic designer.
I don't call myself that.
All right, he's a Los Angeles illustrator /
not in public.
graphic designer. All right. Hey, Devin, do you feel like your fandom for Star Wars, TMNT, pop culture stuff, geeky stuff, is that what kind of led you into doing art and making art about this stuff, or have you always just loved drawing, illustrating, whatever magic you guys do or you produce out of your fingers? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, I used to draw and paint like every day, and it was always fandom related stuff. But like I have all my art saved from like every period I went through, and you could kind of see like what fandom.
Yeah,
what decade? You see like Ninja Turtles, and then there's like the Saving Private Ryan, like Omaha Beach drawings.
Oh wow!
And
nice.
Mortal Kombat and Star Wars.
So, is this something that you were just naturally gifted at? Did you ever go get professional training? And if you're on the live stream, and we have his page up, and I encourage you to take a look at it. If there's time, I'll talk about some of our favorite shots. But I mean, if you look at Devin's work, it's just it's beautiful. I mean, I've said it 1,000 times. Like, you know, I want coffee books from Devin. I want, you know, wall prints, foil stickers. Like his art just screams it needs to be hung up and displayed. So did you get professional training, or is this just years and years of a passion that you've honed, you know, since you were a little kid?
Yeah, I took some art classes outside of school, but I mean, you know, I had pretty good art in school also, I guess. And, or at least that's what my classmates said. So
it's one of those things to where like, if you're not, I would say, I don't want to say naturally talented, because everything, like, anybody can learn anything if you dedicate enough time to it and you're motivated to learn it. But like, I feel like for you, there was like a spark of creativity that was already there, and nobody tried to put it out, and it nurtured itself through your fandom and through your drawings and everything else when you were a kid. And like because I took illustrator lessons, and like when I was in college, I took a lot of design oriented courses, and like I was always better at like two things: 3D animation and video editing were like my strong points when I was in college. And like I took a lot of classes using like Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, all like the entire creative suite. And like the shit that you do, like I can see like concepts that I was taught in it, but then I like when you like your full realization is just like eons above anything that I was ever able to achieve, or even anybody that I know was ever able to do. Like even the good people in my class.
Yeah, what he's saying is,
not able to.
You were born to do this, right? I mean, this is something that when you were picking shit up as a kid, you weren't drawing circles that looked like squares like I do even to this day, correct? I mean, there was like some form of genetic gift, or is this just 10,000, 20,000 hours of practice?
I mean, I've got some weird drawings from my childhood. I still have the paper where I was learning how to spell the word poop.
Got you.
And also
drawing shit and spelling at the same time. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And then just transition right
Mommy,
into
look
Ninja
what I made
Turtles.
today, a pile of shit. It's poop, P-O-O-P. I love it. Did you always, and I'm going to reference your most recent Echo piece. We have it up on the stream right now. Did you always kind of use the vector art form as your staple way of creating? Or is this something you've kind of settled in over the past couple years here on Instagram?
I mean, I was going to summer school for like design type stuff, or like learning Photoshop and Illustrator. So like 8th grade, I was already getting to know those programs. And but then high school, I probably didn't use them too much here and there. And then like college is when I picked it back up again. But I would say it was like the last 5 years at my full-time like apparel graphic design job where I have to do vector art and lots of illustration, daily, that I've gotten so used to it.
I have a question there on shirt designs and whatnot. Does it have to be vector for the printing and shit like that, or is that just the style you prefer to create in?
It doesn't have to be vector, but like the more colors you have on a shirt, the more expensive it gets, and it's easier to prepare an art file with vector art where it's like you have like 5 to 8 like flat colors and you could just point them out.
Got it.
Other than full on like shades and gradients and stuff. I much prefer vector art.
All right, so if you're dopey like Nick and I, and you have no clue what vector art is or how to create it, on the stream right now, I have it's a shot of Super Scoundrels. He kind of made like a custom Mandalorian little Republic Commando helmet action in there. But if you scroll over, I believe, Devin, this would be probably what you create first, is like the vector patterns of a character where you're, what is it? Just drawing all these lines everywhere, right? I mean, is that kind of what vector art is?
Yeah.
Taking that line tool.
Teach us idiots. What the hell is this art?
I've always really sucked at describing it, but I'll do my best. It's much easier to like watch a 3-minute video but it's almost like connect the dots in a way. Like when you're drawing that, yes, you draw like an outline first, or the line work, or like line work and like the black parts of it. Like I'll always do like one layer that has like the shadows mixed with the line work or whatever. So whatever is going to be the color black. But it's like the program helps you draw like perfectly straight lines and like perfect circles and arcs and stuff. So it's really mechanical. It's not like drawing and painting where you're like, you're shading and it's all wrist movement and stuff. It's more like if you're drawing a line, you'll click at the beginning of the line, and then the next click is where you want the end of the line to be.
I could still see that getting very tedious, though. Like, I mean, you put some intricate designs into a lot of your work. What takes longer?
It is all manual. It is all manual work.
Got you.
It's just different.
Does it take you longer to lay out the vectors or to illustrate it or color it in? What the fuck? I mean, what would you call the? Is it coloring it in, shading it in, illustrating it. I don't know. Remember, we just call this stuff real ass paint. So our verbiage for actual art
but
is.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm a vector guy. I can't even call myself real ass paint, you know? But like every color is on its own layer, at least how I do it. So
Holy hell. How big are your files then? Like let's just take this. What are you calling this guy? Your most recent Mando art, that one he's all in black. It's
right.
like how long did that take from, oh, I have an idea to I'm posting it on Instagram?
I probably spent like 2 days on it.
I would think so. I mean,
but you really gotta. That's like a long 2 days, you know, just like very tedious. But like to get the illusion of like a 3D effect or like depth or whatever. Like let's say I'm doing his like arm or whatever. Like I'll have one layer for like a bright gray, one layer for a medium gray, and then one for a dark gray. And like when they're layered over each other, it creates the illusion of like the highlight and the shadow, you know? And then there'll be one layer that I'll call like highlights, and I'll just do like the like white like glimmer on parts of armor and stuff, like the absolute brightest part.
Now all this stuff, was this just all trial and error, or did you learn some of these tricks from training? I don't know, maybe even YouTube videos, because like, I mean, how the fuck would you know, like, oh, I got to create layers for the lighting, the shadows, to give it depth and this and that. I mean, I'd imagine these Photoshop files, when you're done, are massive. I mean, you got to have like hundreds of layers in there if you're saying each color is its own layer, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, like, well, I don't know. I'll have like 40 layers maybe.
Yeah.
I could probably do less, but like I don't know. If I don't like something, I want to be able to just like click off a layer and make it go invisible or whatever, you know. But with that particular piece, for reference, because I didn't create that custom Mando character. My buddy Alpha Ignition, you've probably seen him at some point. He's like a really dope cosplayer on Instagram, and he's got like his custom Mando armor or whatever. So I just have his, like, one of his photos on a layer or whatever, and I'm just drawing over it.
Got you.
Yeah. That was the only thing that I could ever get decent at when I was doing vector stuff, was
tracing
shit that was already there and then trying to go back in and add appropriate coloration and stuff to it. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see, because like even one of my favorite things that you've ever done, and it's an ongoing series that you still have, is your Vice series. Like your like very colorful takes on Star Wars characters. I mean, I've worn the Mando Vice shirt multiple times that I have on the show, and I just think
Thank you, sir.
Yes, of course. I mean, it's a beautiful design. But it's like, what inspired that particular take? Because it's so different than anything that you see in the Star Wars art world. You know, like everything's usually like very gritty, very like grounded in Star Wars itself, or like in a more dark tonal area. But then you come out here and you take these characters that have never seen the color, you know, purple outside of Mace Windu's lightsaber before, and then you just throw them in there, and it looks so organic, it looks so natural, and there's no disassociation between the character and where they are.
Yeah, I mean, I started doing a lot of like retro, you know, like synthwave looking designs, like from time to time at work, depending on who the client is. And then I guess I just wanted to start incorporating it into this. And after that first one, like the Mando one, I was like, damn, like I really like how this looks. I'm going to make this like an ongoing thing, especially because like at the time I was listening to so much synthwave and, you know, GTA Vice City soundtrack. but the music was just kind of fueling what I was working on.
I feel like I feel like this style is, you know, among other things. I mean, we all know why you're popular and you have the following you do. It's easy. Just look at his page at @super_scoundrel. But I feel like once you started putting these out, and that's when things started to really take off. Like these alt synthwave takes on Mandalorian characters. You did one for the Night Owls. We're looking at your most recent one here, where you're using McQuarrie's Boba. I don't know. It just could be me. I'm kind of creepy. I look at everyone's accounts pretty much every day on Instagram. But I feel like once you started, making those design choices, that they started to, maybe get a little more viral than just your other excellent, more tried and true Star Wars work. Is that a fair statement, or am I full of shit?
Full of shit, man.
I figured I had to ask.
It really depends on, I don't know. Some do better than others. It depends on the piece, I think. Honestly, it's been such a struggle since there's no live action stuff on. I know you talk about it a lot, how shitty Instagram is right now, from the algorithm to just the activity on the Star Wars Insta right now. But
it's crazy. Like my personal account, and yeah, I know it's because I don't really post to it anymore. But over the summer, I think I've lost it's about 250 followers for not being active. Now I'm guessing most of those are bot accounts, because I can tell you right now, people, if you have enough time in your life to go through and actively unfollow accounts that aren't posting regularly anymore, there's something you're missing out on life. You're missing out on some things in life. Okay, so I think it's mostly bot related. But again, if the algo doesn't see you pumping those quarters into the machine, it's like, all right, see you later. We're closing off the electric power to your account, and it's just going to die out. So I don't know. I love this style, and I'm not like Nick though. I haven't forked out all the cash yet. I'm a shithead, but I would love to get one of these prints.
I got to get some more stuff, honestly. The thing that limits me is I'm now limited on space where I can hang stuff. So, so we've been talking about so you mentioned that kind of your work took you into this style here, and one really awesome thing that you started doing recently, starting with Schwarzenegger, I think, is that you've started making designs for some pretty big names in Hollywood. How did you come across? Were you reached out to by their representation? These people, because we know Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kendall Jenner's new tequila brand, and now your most recent one is Martin Code, aka Sensei Kreese from Cobra Kai and
when it popped up,
Karate Kid. So how did you make these
really
contacts?
Cool too. He's really nice, and he just says his character isn't a bad guy. He's just misunderstood.
Yeah, right.
That's what they tried to get across in the show for sure. But yeah, how did you come about making these contacts? Was it something that you were actively looking for, or did somebody find you through your social accounts and was like, "Hey, we want you to work with these people"?
So it's a company called Represent, and it's like entertainment merchandising, but all the work is for celeb clients that we've reached out to. I joined up with them in the end of 2015 or something, because one of my high school friends became their first art director, so she kind of hooked the job up. But every week we're bringing in a dozen new accounts, and we have all the account managers bringing the celebs in, and then my design team sending design books out to them and stuff. But we're pretty much hey, do you want to start your own?
Yeah.
Do you want to sell your own original merchandise to your fans, and we'll handle everything, set up a website and for you. And
so is this your
handle shipping and design?
Devin, is this your full-time gig now then, doing this, or do you do other work for other design outfits?
full time with this.
That's awesome.
All right, so I love Arnold. He is literally a national treasure, right? And in the picture of him, he's got the sword, he's got the the barbarian helmet. Do you get to interact with him directly at all, or does he just give your outfit some ideas and then you do your thing? You get creative, you design, and you send them off to his people, and then they make the final choices. Like, how much do you have any direct contact with the client? Like, how did you design this shirt? If you're on the live stream, we're looking at Devin's creation for Mr. Schwarzenegger. It's a sweet Conan the Barbarian shirt with a play on barbell. Like how did that come to fruition?
Right. So it depends on the client if I'm gonna meet them. I would say a good amount of the time we'll get on like a Zoom call with them and their agent or whatever. Unfortunately, with Arnold, it's my boss that gets to talk to him and stuff, which is a real bummer. There was one photo shoot with him that I was going to go on, but it got postponed and I ended up not going. But yeah, I'm giving his feedback, through my boss.
So is it similar, the process? Those of us that watch some of the behind the scenes, just like a Star Wars movie, is it similar to where like George, being Arnold or your boss, just lays out some general ideas, and then you as an artist just concept stuff out, and maybe they're like, oh yeah, that you captured it exactly right there? Or is it more focused, like, I want a barbell, that type of stuff, and you knew you had to get a barbell in there, and it had to be Conan?
Well, this time Arnold said, I need an idea that will blow up my skirt.
That's what you had to work off of? I love it.
That's all I had to
I
work
love
off
it.
Of. If you just wanted something, I would blow up the skirt. And so I was just sitting there for hours trying to think of something. And I had done shirts with taglines that were puns with him before that were really popular. So I'm just thinking, like, how can I tie fitness into a movie that he's worked on? Because his fitness following is like super loyal. Right. And when I thought of Barbarian, I was like,
you got a winner there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So with this, was it thinking of the slogan first, like the tagline, and then you created the image, or was it vice versa?
Yeah, I was trying to think of a movie that I hadn't like done something with, because I've done like a ton of Terminator stuff with him before, and
did a little bit of Over the Top.
I have not.
Oh,
that was
that's Sly. Look at this guy. I mean, he's
Predator,
making shit for
Predator.
all of the '80s action star pimps. You gotta love it. If you're not on the live stream, or if you're,
we are gonna pitch Stallone.
All right. Well, you have to, because I mean, you gotta get. I mean, you gotta get Van Damme in there too. I guess you got to get all the '80s and '90s action stars who are all half dead and still making action movies now.
We've done Van Damme. We've done Chuck Norris.
Oh, well, shit, man! Expendables 4 just got announced, so I mean,
work with Bruce Lee's daughter to do Bruce Lee stuff.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, if you're not on the stream, just listening on the audio only version, well, I'll try to describe Arnold's barbarian design that Devin created for him. It says bar-barian, and then you got a picture of Conan there, and he's curling a barbell with skulls on the end. It's just it's beautiful. It's perfect.
And the one revision to that design was he asked for the skulls on the barbell.
You just had like regular weight on it.
That was a good.
Yeah.
I love it. He's like,
Arnold,
throw some skulls on him, and we're good.
I look like a sissy. Put some skulls on it.
But my first campaign with him was in 2016. The first design, he wanted a shirt that said, "Come with me if you'd want to lift." So that was the first like play on words one, and it went insanely viral. it sold like 83,000
Damn.
tees in 2 weeks.
And I'm guessing you get 0% commission on sales, right? You just probably get a salary fee, and then
I do get a little.
Okay,
commission.
you get a little of the back
There you
end.
go.
That's not bad. All right, so buy these shirts. Buy Martin's new shirt. Damn it, Phil Devin's coffers, if you will. But yeah,
But I sold pandemic masks with him over the last couple of years.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Martin one, this is your most recent outing or creation for a celebrity, and he actually didn't. I mean, he looks like Kreese in these photos, right? He's got the stogie. Does he smoke stogies in real life like Arnold? Yeah or no?
I don't know.
He
but
brought the prop just in case.
It definitely completed the look.
It does.
though.
It did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you created him, what, two designs, King Cobra and Merciless. King Cobra is it's a nice shot of Sensei Kreese. He's flanked by cobras, if you will. Cobra Kai, get it? The King Cobra. It almost feels like a Metallica Ride the Lightning album cover. The King
does,
Cobra
yeah.
shirt.
I think it was his son that was like on the call that asked
All
for a Metallica-esque look.
See, I may be stupid with the art and the terminology, but sometimes I can kind of pick up where some ideas may have come from. So, it's just I'm happy for you that this stuff is happening. It sounds like it's been happening for a while, but I don't know. It just feels like maybe it's picking up. Maybe we pay more attention to Devin's account. I don't know, but I mean, this guy's making killer vector art and designing for the stars, like I said. You got the old what is this? Kenny's tequila truck. This is the deal you did with Kendall.
How did that come about? Because this seems to be a little bit different than like the t-shirts, hoodies, and stuff like that you've been doing through Represent. Was this like a different deal?
Our former CEO became like one of the top brass for her company.
Okay.
Apparently, so he brought us in.
See, I can't
awesome.
remember if I said this in one of my lectures for my capstone students or on the show. But that right there, again, it proves my point. It's all about who you know. It's all about who you know. You've got to have the skills and the dedication to get good, as in GITGUD. But it truly, it's about who you know. I mean, you can only sell yourself so much. After a while, you got to rely on some of your networking and your connections. And if you've been listening to Devin's story here, he got this gig from a high school friend that he probably stayed in touch with, wasn't a dickhead to. And now this has spawned into him working with celebrities, his company getting marketing deals with people like the Kardashians. Love them or hate them, they're brand makers, and they move the meter for some people. So, like I said, don't be a dickhead to people you meet in life, because you never know who may be able to hook you up in your future. Am I wrong or am I wrong?
No, Devin.
Speaking of the who you know thing, I actually ended up going to Mark Hamill's house because
motherfucker.
My friend who gave me this job was also friends with his daughter. So then I became friends with her.
Are you serious?
Wow, look at you. You're in with the Hamills?
This is
we didn't know this.
I'm assuming a lot of these connections stem from the fact that I'm guessing you've grown up and have lived in Southern LA, or I mean Southern California, right? Your whole life. I mean I'm not saying that's everything, but it seems like through Kismet or whatever, some of your connections in life have really stumbled upon some gems. I mean, I was actually going to ask, like, all right, dude, how long before we see Hamill on your page wearing a Super Scoundrel design? You guys pitching his camp, or he's not interested?
He's turned down my designs like multiple times.
Really? Wow.
That I've sent him through the company. Right. But it was really hard because like we wouldn't have the Star Wars license, so like we had to come up with like things that like reference Star Wars, but like weren't fully into it. And I would say like the Star Wars actors, like that was the first time where like almost all of the cast was like, no, we're too scared of Disney's like legal. Because like with other shows and movies, the people will normally be like, fuck it, yeah, we'll do it.
No, I mean, I get it. We've been trying to interview some current Star Wars talent. And every time it looks like it's going to happen, we get the old Lucasfilm said we're not allowed to even talk to you lowlifes where no one's even going to hear it, but we just don't want to get in trouble. So,
they'll run you down.
I also, I mean, I don't know. I follow him on Twitter. I mean, he trended over the weekend just for tweeting his name. Like that's how big of a force he is on social media these days. But I don't see Hamill as someone. And I'm not talking shit against the governor or Martin. I've just never even seen him trying to hawk anything about him on social media in terms of like selling Mark Hamill designed shirts or this, that, and the other. I think it might be, the Lucasfilm stuff, but I've also just never seen Hamill go down that path of trying to cash in on his decades old fame at this point in time. So don't.
And he doesn't like to do like the autograph stuff.
That's what I mean. Like he's avoided all that. I mean, I think some fans are probably pissed because there are fans that love doing the autographs, and Justin would be one of them. SW props, but he really is. I mean, if you think about it, you almost have to applaud Hamill because unlike a lot of people that have a hookup like him, he's not necessarily taking advantage of the con circuits, the signing rings and all this shit where they can make thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month just by kind of relying on their past. So don't take it personally, Devin. We'll blame it on Mark and the way he likes to kind of put his Star Wars work out there. I don't think it's your designs.
So other than a Star Wars actor, is there like a great white whale that you want to get? Like who's the one person? Obviously, it can't be a Star Wars that you would want to really do a design for that you've been like cooking stuff up in your head.
I really don't know.
Okay.
I can't. Who do you think would be good?
Rosario Dawson.
That would be a great one, actually.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot. No Star Wars.
I don't know. I think I was gonna say, I think that your style in particular would be awesome for Keanu Reeves, just because he's got so many. Okay,
that's it. That's the one. I love Keanu Reeves. I want to get Keanu
apparently,
Reeves.
I mean, because if you think about it, he's got so much. He's got John Wick now. He's got The Matrix. He's got Bill and Ted. There's so many good properties that your art style would be really.
He is synthwave ready. I mean, Keanu is synthwave. Like you just look at him and you feel the music coming out of him. What'd you say, Nick? We're getting a Matrix trailer.
I'm a half white, half Asian dude, so Keanu is like my racial representation in movies. So
100%.
And like one night I was like super drunk and I saw that they're like BuzzFeed was accepting questions for an upcoming Keanu Reeves interview, and I was like, there's no way like I'll be one of the ones that he ends up answering, but I was like, I have to try. It's Keanu. And I submitted my question, and then like weeks later, I'm like, oh shit, like what's this Keanu interview? It was called Keanu Reeves interview while playing with puppies. And he answered my question in the interview, and I was like, holy shit.
Do you remember what you asked him? You're like,
that guy's like my freaking idol.
Do you remember the question? Was it like completely drunken, like stupid, or was it a decent question in the end?
I said, do you think John Wick and Ted Logan would get along?
That's not bad. I mean, I could see where, that was a little booze induced, but that's kind of a fun pop culture, like geek out type of question.
Yeah. I got to go find
I want to see the answer. What is he like? Whoa.
I feel like John Wick would just be totally annoyed by Ted.
I don't know.
Well, hey man, when you show up to the comment section after everyone's taken up the normal questions,
Sure.
What are you gonna do?
Right.
Yeah, you gotta get creative.
I'd say as long as Ted doesn't bring any pencils to the meeting, it might go okay. But you gotta watch Wick and pencils. Well, speaking of Keanu, Nick, didn't you say we might be getting a Matrix 4 trailer this week?
Matrix 4 trailer.
Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. That's what I thought it was tomorrow. It's Thursday, and the teaser website's up already. So it's prime time. It's prime Keanu time. Represent needs to reach out and
Let's
get
go.
the hookup.
You better get your bosses over there to start sending the flares up.
Like, hey, man.
Let's go.
Okay. I think I know why we haven't worked with him, because he doesn't have social media.
Oh, so it's like impossible to get in touch with him.
Because that's how because it's the client that does the promotion to their fans. Direct.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
but
'cause
on
that's
my
what I've
passion project.
Yeah, it's like, look,
Just
man.
do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really could.
He has no socials.
I love the guy. I mean, he's another just treasure from the screen. And I don't know if you guys read the synopsis for this new Matrix, but I think it could actually work if they pulled it off. I think it could work. I think they just revise it. I'm assuming, Nick, it may be on that site you're talking about, but we'll get the trailer this Thursday. And who knows, with the lack of Star Wars content, I feel like Nick and I may have to expand into the pop culture universe and maybe start talking about some of these trailers and big releases. I would love to do a little ditty on Shang-Chi, but Nick has not seen it yet. He is not supporting movies back in theaters, but it's fine. I don't blame him.
Apparently the two movies, like Shang-Chi and Matrix 4, have the same cinematographer or something like that.
Well, that bodes well.
Wouldn't surprise me because they had like a lot of like people from like kung fu film and stuff.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
on
that's why Shang-Chi. I mean, it's essentially MCU's version of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's great. I mean, it is a good movie. It's very different than what people may be used to. I don't know. I quite enjoyed it. I'm interested to see where things go from here. But speaking of Shang-Chi, that's the proper way, right? Well, there's like a whole scene in the movie where what's her name, Aquafina, kind of makes fun of Sean, what they call him in the movie, Sean, and why he chose Sean, which is just a play on his real name, which is Shang. And she kind of busts his balls, but no spoilers here, so we're not going to go into it. But before we went live, Devin, he kind of keyed us in that he's going to be working on some stuff for Mr. Shi himself, or at least the actor that portrays him in the movie, Simu Liu. Liu, I'm sorry. Is that, again, that just kind of happened through your company? You reached out, he dug what he saw, or did he give you ideas of what he wants in the design?
So our company has a Marvel license, so I've been like sending stuff out for like.
Oh, so you can go Loki, balls out.
WandaVision, like everything. Yeah. I've done like a bunch of stuff with like Mark Ruffalo, and because of like Mark Ruffalo, I got like a bunch of Avengers movie campaigns. So I did some merch when those movies rolled out.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
See, you would never know just by looking at Devin. He's a very humble artist. You would have no clue.
I was going to say
he's doing all this celebrity work. Like I said, I was not wrong when I announced him today in the show's opening. He is a designer for the stars. Truly.
I'll let you talk me up. You're good.
But a little bit of self-promotion's not a bad thing every now and then, you know?
You should be proud of yourself and what you're getting into. I mean,
that's
not many
amazing.
things that the Star Wars Time Show has touched has blossomed like your account here. So
it's been very interesting to see your growth.
And really, like my most exciting project right now is I just sent a design lookbook over to Gal Gadot, and she's on board. So
yes,
nice Wonder Woman stuff. There you go.
What a goddess! I mean, that she is one of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Let's do a photo shoot where I'm there.
Yeah, it's like just so I can give some design feedback. I just need to be on set.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Stunt Buddy did the. I don't know if the trailer dropped yet, but he worked on the Netflix action movie with Reynolds, Godot, and The Rock. And yeah, he can confirm in person she is just as beautiful as she is on the screen. So, my God, I got to get my head out of the gutter. She is just what a goddess. She truly is an Amazon.
No, we all agree.
All
like
right.
whoever's in the chat right now, they agree. Everyone agrees.
Yeah.
Now, your buddy Props is just in there busting your balls, and Nick's for not supporting the Asian movement in going to see Shang-Chi this weekend.
Okay. So. The reason that I did not see it is because Taylor is out of town. And you go to the movies to see these things together. So she just got back on Saturday.
I'm back to seeing movies by myself. Kids in school. Wife is like a real deal manager these days. So I had to squeeze it in on like an odd time on Friday. But I did get it in.
We're going to go back to them this weekend.
I actually met Star Wars Props because he came in as a freelance photographer for our company.
That's awesome.
And after only meeting one time and talking about like Last Jedi at the office, we ended up going to Celebration together after only meeting once. So
yeah, now
look at that.
Now you're homies for life. So Star Wars,
instant friendship.
It can bring people together. It can tear families apart. You never know. It's for a science fiction creation. It really has become like almost like a political topic for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta watch what you say about Star Wars these days, or you might get someone upset.
That incendiary.
Beautiful.
Hey, I did some work for Gina through my company.
There you go.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
like new stuff. I mean, was it for the Star Wars work or some of her other stuff?
This was like before Mandalorian season 1 came out, and I think it was like a charity for like wolves or something.
Okay.
Hey.
Like a wolf conservation.
I figured these days she's asking you to like create a shirt of her and Ben Shapiro's new movie or whatever they're making together.
Let's say whatever that movie is. That's going on.
She's showing all of us, but hey, whatever.
But that's amazing. We never we had just seen a few of the more recent posts and stuff like that. But
we
never
had
knew
no
that
clue. Look at this guy.
Look at this guy. Went that deep. So, I mean, that's some pretty amazing stuff. Would you say that this is like a dream job, or is there like an aspiration that you have outside of this work? Like, is your ultimate goal to end up somewhere else, or is this like a very happy position for yourself?
I think it's like a dream job.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with it. I mean, there's sometimes you get like, you got to work on like some 16-year-old teen YouTube sensation that is very cringe to do research on.
Yeah.
But,
I feel you there.
But like then when you get that like person that like you're really a big fan of, it's a lot more fun. And then you go harder on the designs when you like that person.
So when Dave Filoni reaches out to you and he's like, "Hey man, we're doing a new style of art for our next animated project, and we're basing it off of what your illustrations look like," you're gonna be like, "No thanks, man. I'm happy. I'm gonna stay where." I'm not interested in working for Star Wars. Is that what you're saying?
I don't even think I'm worthy of working over there.
Come on.
Their artists are a whole different like level, But I would love to be like, sometimes they'll do poster series from like random like Instagram artists who are pretty small and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know why you guys haven't.
Pretty small is beyond you at this point.
Like,
I feel like Pretty Small passed you up at your 7,000 follower highlight. Like, you're Pretty Small.
Have you done, speaking of posters, have you ever done any of the poster posse stuff, or like the gallery, was it Gallery 1988?
I haven't. Someone reached out to me about doing a Dune poster like a week ago, or a couple weeks ago, and then they like just like ghosted after that. But I'm like, I guess they found someone better.
See, don't feel that way.
Sucks.
I did one for Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah. Okay.
I did a Velociraptor illustration, and I didn't know like exactly what they were going to use it for, but they use it for a bunch of stuff. It was the cover of Empire magazine, which was crazy.
Holy shit,
what does that feel like to see something you've created on a publication that goes to I'm assuming at least 1 million subs? What does that feel like? I mean, is that like do you just get a sense of pride when you see that?
A single tear of joy comes down. You just,
I've made it, motherfuckers. Yeah, I can imagine.
And then in some countries they're handing them out on the like premiere night, like a free giveaway at the theaters.
Yeah.
And then
that's amazing.
I'd imagine that just has to feel good to know that something you've created is being used to promote a massive, multi-million-dollar project. Millions of people are seeing it. I would assume that's why most artists do what they do. I mean, we could get all fluffy and be like, oh, you do the art for you, blah, blah, blah. But, people like making money and they like seeing their stuff out in the wild and people reacting to it. If we didn't, we wouldn't use Instagram or TikTok or any of this other shit. All right? We're humans. We like when people like us. It's not that hard to figure out. Yeah. So I love hearing that type of stuff. Devin, would you say for you personally, is it more fun to work on these commission projects, like your professional stuff, or the excellence you throw up on Instagram? What do you get more gratification out of?
If Mando were like live right now and I'm like super hyped on Star Wars, then I would definitely say the Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
It's right now. It's like
a seasonal thing then.
Of a drag because it's like I'm just like going through the motions. Like there's less activity, like not as many eyes on it, but still takes just as much effort.
See, I'm excited to see when Visions drops, what your brain cooks up from there, because Visions with the Eastern style, with the focus on like samurai style stuff like that, if that kicks in any thoughts in your head, I feel like that could be some
I could
magic
see that.
Right
It's I don't know if you follow Daz Tibbles, Devin, but he's another artist that we appreciate. And
the ones he's been doing for Visions are insane.
That's what I was going to say. Is like I don't know if Nick's seen those, but it sounds like Devin has. But Daz has definitely started to channel Visions, and he's running with it like that. That astromech he did with like the Ronin straw hat and a spear. I mean, the way your brain works, the way his brain works, I wish I had like 1% of that, just 1% of that imagination.
But when I first joined Instagram, like my two like Star Wars like art idols at the time were like Venomous and Daz, because they were the first like big accounts that stood out to me that just have so much traction all the time. So it's like weird as hell now when random people are like, dude, you're one of my favorites along with Venomous and Daz. Like,
I mean, hey, you're like me. You probably don't believe anyone. You think you suck and all that stuff. That's how I live. I live in the negative. It's not healthy. Don't do it, people. I'll die young. But you are. I mean, for someone that looks at this fucking shit every day, like I said, I mean, there's an hour a day dedicated looking at Star Wars fan art. I've been doing it for 3 years now almost. I am an expert. I'm going to call myself an expert on looking at people's art, not making it, but looking at it. And you are 100% up there with Daz and Venomous. I mean, you're just as creative, just as efficient, and the stuff looks fantastic. So, hey, we speak your name. You know that over here. But, as we kind of wind things down, I typically like to ask our artists to drop any tips on our fans' faces, just in case there are other aspiring real-ass painters out there who have looked at Devin's work at super_scoundrel on Instagram and have been like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to be like him. I need to know like what are some good tips for someone just starting out in the hobby?
For me, especially with the vector art, it came down to like finding vector artists that I thought were way better than me, and I was just like, holy shit, like this person's style is like so great. So I would like mimic some of how they did things, kind of like fake it till you make it.
Got you.
But I mean, you know, once you develop your own style and stick with it, that's cool. But like definitely when you're getting used to, you know, using Illustrator and stuff, it helps to see what other people do that are like full on pros.
No,
you know?
I've actually heard that from a lot of people. No. I've heard that advice from a lot of people that have picked up the traditional painting, art skills, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Remember, we're stupid.
That's how my teacher...
It is. It's like you kind of start by emulating the greats, like going back and looking at how they would do things and maybe even tracing them. But eventually, like Devin said, you're probably going to find your own style, and then you just got to just, you know, put in the time. I think it's safe to say over his lifetime, he has reached master level. He's put in the 10,000 hours to reach master level, as they say. It's just it's having the passion and the dedication to the art form, sticking with it. So,
yeah. And speaking of dedication, I quit drinking and decided to replace the drinking with art. So
there you go.
Oh, whoa, there you go.
I may need to talk to you because I feel like I need to cut out some of my my medicine, as I like to refer to it, around the house, so my kid doesn't quite know yet that her dad's a fuck up. But yeah, I don't know. I just said it to my wife. I was like, and it's not like I'm crazy, you know, it's maybe 4 or 5 beers over the weekend. I don't drink during the week. But at 41, there are some days I'm waking up. Today was one of them. I'm like, what the fuck did I do this weekend? I feel like I was cracked out, and you know, I wasn't drinking a lot, but I don't know. I'm feeling you, and I think what you said is something I would have to do too. I'm going to have to find one of my hobbies and just dump that time into it, because I don't know. I mean,
for lack of a better term, that's kind of what they try to get people to do who are addicted. It's like trade one addiction for another. I'm not saying that Devin was an alcoholic. All I'm saying is that like that's a very common tactic when taking with somebody who has an addictive personality.
And that's me. I mean, I
was a real dumbass though.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody has been there at some point. The real dumbass is definitely a title that we could all hold at one point in our life.
Are you talking like you couldn't even function in life? Like, was it that bad, or it was just, you know, you're partying a little too much?
No, I was fully functional, kicking ass at this job and everything. But you know, just super dumb asshole on Friday night, you know?
Got you.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, what did I text my ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, one of those, like, you wake up the next day and wonder what you did in your somewhat blacked out state. I get it. Well, congratulations on that. I mean, like I said, I'm addicted to food, booze, other stuff, you name it. And it's something I know I'm going to have to find something else to fill that void. But at 41, I'm starting to feel it more than I ever felt. It's like we're almost turning into an afternoon school special now. You know, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
I mean, hangovers last so much longer than when you're in college.
Yeah,
that's true.
I need like two full days of lying on my back in shame.
That's fun.
Your whole weekend is in recovery from the Friday night.
Yeah, we're getting within the live stream chat. His buddy's in here, kind of ratting him out. He's like, I guess Devin must have really been off the handle on these Friday nights, because he's like, he was insane. Old Devin was insane, is the comment here. So,
well, because we first met at that, or we were first hanging out at that Star Wars celebration.
Yeah.
And every night we were just going hard.
Yep.
And he was like, "You are such a crazy fucker."
Well, you can ask Nick. At the same one, I had a night like that because they kept feeding me IPAs instead of
I would say like
cutting
that
them
was
down to
his
regular
wife,
beer.
His wife was just plying him with alcohol.
I was
And
vomiting in the taxi to go watch the Mandalorian panel the next morning. It was not great, but it happens. It happens.
But we met so many like Star Wars royalty at the hotel bar. Like, freaking Sam Witwer, and I was randomly like talking to this girl, and I thought she was kind of cute, but then I find out she did the motion. What do you call it? The
mocap.
She did the mocap of Rio.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
I was like, that's random but awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys were staying at the actual, what was it, the Westin? You were at the hotel where the convention was taking place in Chicago then, right?
Yeah, it was like the Marriott.
Yeah, that's that like anyone that's into just occasionally maybe rubbing shoulders with people you look up to. That is a well-known trick, and I picked this up when I used to cover E3 when I was in gaming media. Fuck all the I got the pass to this VIP party, this, that, and the other thing. Most of the cool people, most of the people you want to run to, are typically chilling at the hotel bar. A lot of people don't know that. They think that everyone wants to go out to all the flashy stuff. No, like most of the celebs and the people that make the Star Wars, they don't want to fucking go out at night. They just want to go to the hotel, maybe catch some drinks, shoot the shit with their colleagues, and go back up to their room. So there's Devin's second tip of the interview for you. Don't discount hotel bars at events like Celebration. Okay?
If you're still partying, get your money's worth.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, it's been real.
Oh, wait, one more thing.
Okay, sorry.
You guys need to come to the next Celebration.
I know. Justin's hitting us. We're going to have to figure some shit out because I think we've missed the windows to actually get any sort of passes at this point unless they're media related. So go ahead, Nick.
I will not
when
be
it gets
available.
close to the actual event, they'll open
a
website page for like official reselling of tickets, which is how I got my ticket to the last Celebration. You can for sure get in. You will get in. We'll be there.
I will not, because I'm not going to be in the country. I'm going to be on a vacation.
Nick is officially pulling out. I haven't pulled completely out yet, but we'll see. I'm not fully shutting the door.
My family planned a vacation at that time, so I will not be able to.
We're your family. We're your Star Wars family.
That's right. Remember, they said they'd come and get us at the airport and all that shit. So I may, or at least Justin did. I may hold him to it if I actually show up. But I mean, there's a part of me that I know
he 100% will. And by him, I mean like we will.
I know. Trust me, you guys, you're good guys. I know you're good guys. But we'll see. I know I'll experience hardcore FOMO once it gets closer, and that may push me over the edge. But I don't know. Getting out to Anaheim it makes me itchy. From the Midwest, it's just going to be a shit show. I've been so happy that I don't cover E3 anymore and have to go out to LA once a year because it sucks. But this one, you'd actually have to go to LA and then drive down to Anaheim or go to San Diego and drive up. So it's not an easy place to fly to is what I'm getting at.
Well, have you guys been to Galaxy's Edge yet?
I went to the Florida.
Real quick, you went last week, right? Were you just one of the first people in? Is that why it looks so dead, or is it actually that dead?
Well, I did get there at 7:30 a.m.
Okay,
so I was
one of the first.
Amongst the first in there. But no, it was dead like that for most of the day, and there was like no lines for rides. I went on Smuggler's Run 3 times.
That's awesome.
And Rise of the Resistance is crazy good.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did it break down? How many times did it break down? Because when I went to the one in Florida, I was on one where it broke down so bad that they had to turn all the lights on and walk us through the entire building to get out. Did it made it? You didn't have any breakdowns?
No breakdown, but I
Excellent.
wouldn't mind walking through the rooms that they had on that ride.
Yeah, it's
like the First Order Star Destroyer.
It's funny because once you leave the main play area, I guess we'll run with that. It looks like a fucking office building. It really, like all the hallways that we were using to get out, it just looks like an office building that has a really bitchin' Star Wars ride inside of it instead of cubicles.
Once you get behind the scenes stuff, like the behind the scenes shit is weird in Disney because it is very, I don't want to say clinical, but it is very like
it kind of
standard.
It kind of is.
Yeah, but I will be going in November when I'm there for vacation. So I'm looking forward to it because when I went last time, Rise of the Resistance wasn't even open yet. So this will be my first time there since the ride has opened.
They're both great rides, and they're both very different. So it's like you can't even compare Smugglers to Ride. Ride is a Rise. It's like an experience. It's what I feel like the hotel's going to be like. Sans a ride. You know, Devin, when you walk out of the transport for the first time and you're on a Star Destroyer. Like how it looks and feels that way. That I have a feeling that's what the hotel is going to elicit, at least from people that go. All right, dude. Well, it's been real. Thank you for the time. Thanks for coming on the show. I'm not going to say finally because it was our fault dragging feet, but it was a pleasure talking with you. I love hearing everything that you've gotten into thanks to your talent, and it is a talent. It's a legit talent, and we speak your name for it. So. Everyone, if you're not already following him, you must do so now. Don't make me destroy you, as my buddy Darth Vader would say, all right? He is Devin Doty at @super_scoundrel on Instagram. I'm assuming other platforms, if he's on them, it's probably a similar name, but his main home is Instagram. And every Tuesday as a mod for the Star Wars Time Show on YouTube. So we'll get a little self-plug.
So I got to start moderating now.
Yep.
Yeah, now you got to get back to
get back to work,
wrench.
damn it. That's enough. Your break's over, buddy. All right.
No, thank you again for coming on.
See you, Devin.
Do I X out of this thing?
Nah,
you guys?
We'll kick you out, and then we'll be looking for you in the chat room, my friend. Cheers.
Thank you again, Devin.
Thank you.
All right, there he goes. Mr. Super Scoundrel is off and returned back to the wild. You know what, Nick?
Habitat.
I was happy to hear like that. The Arnold and the Martin stuff, that's just not a random thing. I mean, this is something he's doing, it sounds like, weekly, monthly basis now. And it sounds like he's being well paid and living his best life.
Yeah, no, it's amazing when something like that, when you can land a job that is so within your area of interest, not only in terms of like your job, like what you're doing, but also in the work that you're doing, like making stuff for these amazing, movie stars and film subjects and stuff like that. So that's a truly amazing job to have. And I actually envy him for having a position like that where he gets to do awesome work.
I mean, Nick's not lying. Like Nick and I have pretty great setups. I think I can speak for him. Like our work-life balance is optimal. All right.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy what I do. I mean, clearly, listen to me. I am a bag of hot air. I went from being an introverted child into someone that likes to hear himself talk. So I enjoy teaching people. I love lecturing. I mean, these days I love getting online on Zoom and delivering my gospel on computer science. But I would say I lack excitement in my job. I would say Nick lacks excitement in his job. I do feel like I'm missing one little ingredient to be 100% happy with my job. And it's like, they'd be like, hey, Matt, you're a dickhead. You're influencing thousands of humans that may go on and do great things because of something you said. And it's like, okay, great. I'm an asshole. I'm superficial. I want the here and now and, the instant awesomeness. So I get it. But it does sound like Devin has that. He has achieved the job where, it doesn't even feel like you're working. So you don't worry about work-life balance, but you're also getting to do awesome stuff
Amazing
via
shit.
opportunities. Like him and Justin paired together, if you think about the shit that they get to do, pretty good gigs. I mean, Justin gets to go to all the movie premieres. He's shooting a lot of the celebs that are wearing Devin's designs. So kudos to them both. All right, my friend, we're hour 40 in. We got to get moving to try to stick to our new edict of shorter shows. I think you're right, even though I didn't want to agree with you, but that's just kind of how we sort through our problems over here. Hey, there he is. The mod's in. He's back in. The wrench. That a boy. He didn't even take a 5-minute piss break. That's how we like it.
He just jumped right in.
All right, my friend.
Yeah, I mean the good thing this week is there's not a whole lot happening.
No.
You know, this was a relatively low key week.
Yeah, I'd say the big one here is this deal on Boba Fett's motive and potential armor change for the Book of Boba Fett. This is, again, coming from the Star Wars News Network, so I tend to trust them. They did not follow up on their Kenobi leaks because apparently they got their sources in some hot water with the shit that we talked about last week. But anyways, according to SWNN, and they themselves are classifying this as a rumor because, like us, unless they see it themselves, they're not going to kind of lay down their reputations. Not that we have a good reputation or one worth paying attention to, but at least myself and Nick, we'll always run stuff as rumor unless we've seen something or know something. But what they're saying about Boba Fett and his motive in the Book of Boba Fett is not too far off to what Nick and I, and really probably a lot of you, have been spitballing about after we saw him blast Bib in the face, roll his fat ass off the throne, and take the seat. So apparently his motive in the Book of Boba Fett is revenge. Pure and simple revenge. Which, Nick, like I said, I mean, sometimes I like to rewrite history. But didn't we kind of say that this is a route that could be taken, thrown in like the potentials of Cad Bane, flashbacks, figuring out what happened with the Sarlacc pit. But considering how Book of Boba is teed up, he just took over his former boss's palace.
That's like which level 1 revenge right there.
Which is probably still doing shady shit, right? Even under Bib's leadership. Leadership. One would have to think that he's probably gearing up to do some stuff that is not on the straight and narrow, right? Like if you're going to take over a gangster's former hideout, you're probably going to do some gangsterish type of stuff yourself.
I got to agree with that. There's no reason for you to jump into the throne of the former king of the Hutts for no reason. And I guess like when we were watching Mando, we were kind of working under the guise of like, oh man, is he like reformed? Is Boba Fett walking a new path?
Nick, him and Fennec essentially say the same thing. Like, look, we are vile pieces of shit. And then the Dune Sea kind of teaches you a lesson in life. And I think that's why we've been asking, like, well, was he doing the shit for Din because it was a debt he owed him? And is he going to go back and kind of dabble in the criminal aspect of his past? But it looks like he may be opting for the latter. And and this is exactly what they said. He is hell-bent on going after everyone who did him wrong in his life that he already hasn't wasted. That's kind of the spin I put on it. He will also be looking for other bounty hunters, and he will be doing so with a new look for his armor.
So this is the interesting...
Let's stay on the revenge piece for now and speculate on that before we talk about the armor. So even before Cad Bane made his way into the Bad Batch, one of the first things that you brought up when Boba Fett was kind of reintroduced in the canon was, this abandoned duel that happened in Clone Wars between them two. It's the Den and the Helmet, and it was supposedly how Cad Bane was going to get wasted back in that time period. So now that Bane is back through Bad Batch, and he survived his encounter with the Batch, it does make sense to have these two
have some sort of meeting, whether it be in flashback form or like truly happening in Mandalorian timeline, which would fulfill that ultimate like, hey, I'm out for revenge. You wronged me. I'm coming to fuck you up now. It brings in a lot of potentials for that storyline. Like even Han Solo could pop up in the Boba Fett show.
He's one that was on my list. I mean, naturally, I think in our fan responses, someone put this out there. You know, maybe Boba looks at it as a tit for tat between him and Han. He captured Han. Han misfired his pack. Let's call it even Steven. You know, you don't have a bounty on your head anymore. I don't care. But, you know, Han comes to mind. Chewbacca comes to mind. Luke Skywalker could even come to mind. He's not a fan of Jedi because of Mace Windu. If they decide to resurrect him, comes to mind. He would be number one on the hit list. In fact, he's already tried to take him out in the Clone Wars as a young kid. I honestly think some of the revenge factor could potentially stem from the events of the War of the Bounty Hunters miniseries that's going on right now. And hear me out.
Yeah.
Why else does Lucasfilm and Marvel decide this year of all years to essentially reboot original trilogy Fett through the War of the Bounty Hunters comic book run, which also crosses over with Vader, Star Wars, Aphra, and the Bounty Hunters? It's like they knew what they were getting, the gift they were getting from Favreau, Rodriguez, and Filoni in the resurrection of Fett in The Mandalorian and the Neo-Boba era of the character. They knew that they were kind of juicing this guy. All right, he's always been a fan favorite because he's looked cool. I think we've established jokingly and sometimes a little too seriously that he really was a bozo in the original trilogy. Tamara Morrison himself has confirmed it. He is Boba Fett. Enough said, right? I don't even have to get on my soapbox anymore to convince people that in the OT, Boba really did nothing spectacular. So I think the combination of reintroducing the character as a bad motherfucker kind of led to, all right, let's further this, but in his era that people first fell in love with him in, there's War of the Bounty Hunters. So there is a part of me thinking that some of the revenge will directly stem from what's going to happen over the next few issues of War of the Bounty Hunters. I mean, depending on how this is resolved, Nick, Kira is going to be on his hit list, right? You could argue, I'm assuming Aphra may get in there. Some of the other bounty hunters, for sure as shit, have already tried to fuck with him. Forlom, Zuckuss, right? So even Bosk himself has messed with Boba Fett in this War of the Bounty Hunters run. So that's why I'm thinking some of the revenge we may not even be fully aware of until War of the Bounty Hunters gets through, which I believe it should. A few months before Book of Boba even hits Disney Plus.
Yeah, my initial thoughts were definitely like outside of the main, like those main two of Cad Bane and Han Solo. My first thought went like right to War of the Bounty Hunter stuff, like specifically Aphra, because I think they're looking for a way to transition that character into like moving picture world. Yeah. Like how do we bring her in?
Nick, her and
I think it's a good
I think you're on to something, because her and Santa, I don't know the fucking proper pronunciation, but her and her female companion that they're kind of working together, they actually made a deal with Fett at the Crimson Dawn auction for Han Solo, and they're going to renege on it. So yeah, I mean, that could be another one. It just, he almost sounds like in the Book of Boba Fett, he's going to be Steve Buscemi's character in Billy Madison, right? Where he's sitting around.
He's got like a list.
Yeah. He's putting on lipstick and crossing off names of people he wants to kill or not kill after they, make amends for whatever wrongs they did to him when he was younger.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very unique situation that Disney has here with Boba Fett. If you look at it historically, Boba Fett was probably the most loved character who did the least out of anybody.
That's a very fair statement.
And, I mean, and the things that he did were bozo level, and it was most like his fandom was mostly found around like, well, look how cool this guy is,
it's all armor
everything
based.
else, and then like, and then they tried to give him his time in the sun in the novels, but essentially when Disney said like, hey, we're gonna take our entire canon in a new direction, that we're going to cut off all of the old EU stuff. We're going to build from new. Probably one of the names that was on the top of that list was Boba Fett.
Right.
Like, this is a character that has a built-in fan base that we have completely open area to do whatever we want to do with. So, I mean, and he's connected to so many people. Like, just from the fact that he is a bounty hunter who's gone after some of the most famous names in the galaxy, you can bring anybody into this show. Anybody who's still alive, anybody who's dead, because you can work in flashbacks in this show. I mean, name somebody, and there's a potential that they could be in the show
I'm
through some angle.
I mean, Han, Luke, and Chewie are easy ones because technically they directly led to his apparent death. But based on how Boba's being written in War of the Bounty Hunters, he's a very practical man. He's like, listen, if I don't have a contract on you, I don't give a fuck. Like, just let me get my Han Solo back. That's all I want, Chewie. I lit you on fire. I probably could have killed you. I just want to move on and finish my contract. So I know. I mean, Neo Boba, I don't know if he's going to be as bounty hunter honorable when it comes to his revenge.
Yeah.
But I really think I'm trying to think to Clone Wars, like one of the last episodes he's in, I believe he brings on Asajj Ventress, and she kind of fucks them over to where he gets arrested and put into prison. So do they bring her back from life? I don't know if her death is canon.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, her death is in a new EU book, like in a new Disney.
So she's gone. Yeah,
she should be dead, but who the fuck knows? I mean, like, I feel like at this point, if they wanted to, they could do it in a creative fashion and maybe have some flashback scenes with her. But I mean, if you think about it, it would be kind of a like that attitude and that approach to what he's doing would be kind of a meteoric shift, because like you said, he always was very like, it's all about the business, man. Like, I think at one point he even told Han Solo and old canon, like, hey, I don't not like you.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you're right.
People just want you dead.
Right.
Like,
I'm just getting paid to do a job. He's one of those
Yeah.
people that can justify atrocities because it's just a job, right? Like, he's just doing what he's paid to do.
Yeah, and now it's kind of like the flip side of that coin, to where it's like, I don't need a job. I want to kill you because you were mean to me when I was a child.
No, you're right. I mean, I do think it's going to be coming from a true place of vengeance. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, do they already go back to the well and throw in a big three character like a Han? I mean, I think Chewbacca's an easy fix. You just call up Eunice or Junus, and we're off to the races. But Han, I mean, do you go de-aged Harrison? Do you go Alden and just use it in a flashback? I don't know. I mean, if he's looking for revenge, it would have to be older Han. It can't be young Han. I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the plan for Solo 2, like from what you've heard and what we saw at the end, like the plan was probably to bring Boba Fett in there, but who knows at this point?
Right, and they just would have been employees of Jabba the Hutt. I mean, the War of the Bounty Hunters makes it clear that Boba Fett was Jabba's number one guy. But even with that knowledge in tow, Jabba still didn't give two shits about putting an open bounty on his ass because he thought that he screwed him over. So, I mean, let's be real. Boba Fett was raised by bounty hunters, people that kind of, I would say, skirted the line of righteousness towards.
I would say live in a very morally gray area.
Like the guy, he's not a Luke Skywalker. He's not even a Han Solo when it comes to his motivations in life. I mean, he was literally created as a machine of war. and then trained his whole life to be a tool of destruction. So he doesn't have normal emotions, I wouldn't think. It seems like getting his ass kicked and living out in the Dune Sea for 5-6 years helped to humanize him a little bit. But you saw his interaction with Bo-Katan. I mean, he's quick to pull out a blaster and defend his clone heritage against true Mandalorians. I mean, hell, him and Casca were actually fighting each other over shit talking. So
almost killed each other because of that. So yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't put him on like a Buddhist pacifist path.
No.
His time in the desert. So
I completely buy into the vengeance motive, and that's really I think what we were selling ourselves in some of our speculation. I mean, outside of you have to give us how he comes back to life, and to me that is a no-brainer. It has to be there, otherwise it's just going to be odd. But outside of that, it probably is like, whose ass is he going to kick either in the present timeline or the past? Because you're not going to get a Book of Boba Fett episode where they're just sitting around, talking or escorting frog ladies and egg babies to her husband. I just don't see that in the Book of Boba Fett, especially with Rodriguez being kind of the showrunner, and it sounds like he may have directed more than one episode. It's going to be like episode 6 of season 2 for the most part. I think you're going to get a lot more of that than what you got in the Mandalorian, like season 2, episode 2, the Frog Lady episode. And it's fresh on my mind because I finally convinced my kid that we need to rewatch the second season of Mando. So we started that last night. But it's going to be way more action oriented than even Mando was. And Mando had action in every episode. But sometimes, in that episode, the spider episode, the frog episode, it really was just running away and trying to survive. Right. It wasn't actual fisticuffs and gaffy sticks to people's faces.
There we go. Yeah. So it will be interesting to see how that all plays out. But we're only a few months out now.
Last point on this one, Nick, but they also mentioned that we're going to get a new look for his armor. And it doesn't sound like it's going to be anything wild, and they weren't really sure if it's going to be the present timeline where his armor may look different or during some of the flashbacks. But they did commit to, in addition to the motive, that we are going to see a Boba Fett armor variant in the show, more than likely for marketing purposes and to sell more fucking figures to dopes like myself. But also probably to help fans get a better idea of the timeline shifts that we're probably going to see.
I would imagine that there's probably not going to be a costume shift for current time, just because one literally just happened. Like he in the middle of Mando season 2, he does the repaint, and that seemed pretty fresh and everything like that. So it probably will be something leaning towards flashback timelines and stuff. Maybe even you get the black armor variant that we saw in War of the Bounty Hunters, like on screen, and people can use that as like their little.
Yeah, it's a good call, man.
Be like, okay.
I just feel like the Book of Boba people were more than likely in touch with Sule and his team on War of the Bounty Hunter. And I think there's great potential for some of that stuff coming to fruition in the present timeline, or like Nick said, maybe giving us some flashbacks of just losing Han and how the other bounty hunters were trying to fuck him over to get Han Solo so they could get the money from Jabba. I don't know. I just, you heard it here first. Not that it matters or it's going to get us any clout, but I really think not a lot, but I do think some more of the bounty hunters content will be paid off on or revisited in the Book of Boba Fett. So there you go.
I think so.
Armor change though. What could they do without completely fucking the armor though? Like you got to keep the paint scheme, right?
Yeah, it's
does he add some thighs maybe? I mean, Boba never really did.
I was going to say, are we going to get another fucking thigh pad
gate? That's right. Where they have to sell 8 versions of the same season 2 Mandalorian figure.
Same thigh pad. Yeah, man, it's hard. Like, it depends on how far back you go, right? Because like if you go far back, then you could get to a time period to where he's bumming around without his dad's armor, or, he's got different stuff on and all this other, like, you could go way back.
I mean, I
really get into.
I personally want to see him in the tried and true OT jumpsuit and armor.
Yeah.
Like I would like to see that, like, a vision of what he used to look like in Empire and Jedi. But then, like this new armor, it'll be interesting to see if it is a timeline thing or if in the present he does snazz up. I mean, to me, an easy change for what we saw him end The Mandalorian season 2 in is you get away from the robe undercarriage and you go back to like a jumpsuit.
Yeah, like maybe drop the turtleneck.
Yeah,
and,
just go back to the Mando, whatever that their overalls, their jumpsuits, their pilot suits, whatever the fuck you want to call them. Because I don't think you can get too crazy with the paint scheme, and you can't get too crazy with adding or removing bits of armor. You know what I mean? It's like because at this point we've seen him use almost all the gadgets. So it's not like you could just remove a gadget and then be like, oh, like he's already used the targeting thing that we've never seen him use before in Mando. Like he used that. So it's not like you could just rip that targeting computer off his head now and be like, okay, look, costume change. So I think there will be some subtle changes in his current timeline costume. Just to hit you again with another, hey, here's a $250 fucking Boba Fett figure, because this is slightly different than it was in Mando season 2. But I do think that we're gonna get more variation difference in the past timeline, and that'll be the real money maker for the toy distributors and stuff like that. That's my prediction, and I really do think that a full black Boba Fett has a high likelihood of. Come on, I mean, collectors would eat that alive. I mean, we'd be like, give us more. We'd be shoving it in every orifice we have.
Yeah. So I think those are your most likely changes. So, Book of Boba Fett, December, 3 months away. So mark it on your calendars, people.
What are you thinking? October, we'll get our first peek.
It's got to be October. I think that September, like this month, would be a little bit too early. I'm guessing like third week of October is when we get like a teaser, and then you set up basically like a month's worth of turnover between like full story length trailers. You get poster drops,
TV spots, and all that shit. Yeah. I would be shocked if we don't have both a poster and the first tease by the end of October. I mean, it's not like these people need to dump a ton of money into marketing. I mean, at this point, it's built in. I mean, come on. I don't know why Star Wars invests half the amount they probably invest into advertising, but I guess they still feel like they got to get to the non-nuts, right? Like just your regular people out there. These days, it sounds like they're more concerned with getting all the bodies over in Asia into theaters versus over here. So you never know. They're still going to dump the money into the marketing machine. But I would be very surprised if we don't have something to geek out on Book of Boba Fett wise by the end of October. All right. Nick has another rumor for you coming from kind of the same family of shows in The Mandalorian. And I kind of saw this floating around, Nick. I wasn't so sure we were going to run it or not, but I mean, it's like, it's definitely gotten some play, a ton of play. And that's the fact that there's a rumor going around. And I think Nick should have some very pointed comments on this, because at one point in time, he had a pretty good idea for The Mandalorian, the title, and how they could refresh it without getting too crazy. But Nick, there's people out there saying that the title of The Mandalorian could change after season 3. So before you kind of get into explaining what's going on here, I don't know. I think it'd be a very ballsy choice to make, considering the built-in branding you already have. I mean, at this point in time, if you say The Mandalorian, most humans that have the ability to stream content know exactly what you're talking about, and they're either going to go, "Oh, Baby Yoda," or the Boba Fett guy. It's baked into society at this point in time. That is the name of the Mandalorian.
From a marketing perspective, this is a nightmare.
Right? I mean,
if you're on the marketing team for Disney LFL right now, and like if these conversations are happening, you're literally in there and you're begging. You're like, please don't do this. Like you don't understand brand. Like you have to understand like brand equity and what even small changes could do to a casual fan base. Because like if you go in and you change your title, not only are you changing your title, you have to change your marketing material. You have to change your brand assets.
Yeah.
You have to change your social media presence. You have to change everything around it. So from a marketing perspective, it's like a terrible idea because of the amount of work that you have to do. But so what Matt was referencing when he said that, my ideas around the Mandalorian, the title of the Mandalorian, and how that could be a very malleable and flexible thing is my first idea was like, the Mandalorian is not necessarily in any way linked to Din Djarin. Like he was known as the Mandalorian because nobody knew his name, but now that we do, you can use the Mandalorian as a title to say like, hey, if Din's story has been told, you can still use the Mandalorian as the title and have main characters like Bo-Katan or anybody else that falls under the title
Sabine.
of a Mandalorian. Sabine.
I mean, Nick has been saying this since I believe the end of season 1, right? Was it before season 1 or the end of season 1 when we talk about what's going to happen in season 2? And you laid this out there, and I've always been like, you know what? That's definitely a doable idea, and one way to extend this franchise, into Simpsons territory. Not that I think we would ever get that. I would love to have a Star Wars show that goes for essentially my entire life. I mean, The Simpsons has been on since I was maybe 8 years old, and it hasn't missed a season yet. It's crazy. It's fucking nuts. So I don't know. Do you think this is just a can of bullshit, or explain where this is even coming from? I don't even think we got to that point yet.
So I think that where it's coming from is there's an expectation that post season 3 there's going to be a very sharp shift in where your narrative is going, and that prompted a lot of people to think like, okay, well, if there's going to be that hard of a right turn in your narrative tell, then maybe they do a title change along with it. The problem, I guess, like a lot of the speculation started in that direction, and then it started to kind of tighten up a little bit to where people like there's been more clarity where people think that the title change could be the Mandalore. So you just take off the E-N. It's just M-A-D-A-N-D, Mandalore with an E at the end. And then the focus is now on him being the Mandalore, rebuilding Mandalore and the Mandalorian culture post the everything that happened and stuff like that. So in my mind, that would make, if there is going to be a title change, it would make the most sense to do it that way because one, the title change isn't catastrophic. It's not like you're changing it from the Mandalorian to fucking whatever, Din Djarin's journeys and whatever else. And it would be a cohesive change in line with the expectation of where the story is going. And that's the big thing is like... Yeah,
I mean, this all stems from one of the poo-flingers, right? Where, a tweet went out. I mean, the Mandalorian stuff going around. Haven't heard about it ending at season 3. I've been hearing 4th season, as Nick correctly states in the post on StarWarsTime.net. You got to remember, Giancarlo already outed that it's going to be at least 4 seasons. I mean, in an interview, he's like, listen, hey, stuff in season 3, but wait till season 4 and seeing what my guy's getting into. So anyways, Jordan says, I've been hearing 4th season, but there's an end in quotes planned. If it ends, I've noticed all the qualifiers here. If quotes and end. If it ends, I've also heard it'll just morph into a new show that sticks with the character / time period, but under a new name. And I don't know. Like Nick laid it out there. He's a marketing guru. Clearly, Disney and Lucasfilm, they have more money than they need, and I don't think they would let money be an obstacle if they decide to go this way. It just seems silly if you are going to stick with a core cast of characters that were introduced in The Mandalorian. But its narrative ends, but it really doesn't, and you're going to keep the same characters and time period. Like, why the fuck would you be shooting yourself in the foot and essentially having to rebrand an entire new show, even though it's not technically a new show? I think I think Nick's idea is still the best. I mean, it allows anyone to be as fluid as they want with the series. You can kick main characters in and out at will as long as you have a Mandalorian as the main subject.
Yeah, and that's why, like, to me, even like the shifting narrative that follows different, like you could have even in like my head, you could have even had a season of The Mandalorian that was the Book of Boba Fett, and you don't even have to change the name because Boba Fett is a Mandalorian. Like that, like he is thought by enough people to be a Mandalorian to where that he could just slide in as a 2-episode or a 2-season main. And then the next 2 seasons after that, you're with Bo-Katan and the Night Owls. And then after that, you go with, you go back to Din on Mandalore and everything like that. I think that was the better approach. A title change is too confusing for casual fans, like if you go into Disney Plus and then all of a sudden there's this show on there called not The Mandalorian, but it's still the continuation, it's still the same show, people will not understand that. Like you have to understand that people don't read things anymore. Like people know what they know, and if something changes even minutely, it will be completely off of their radar. So it's an inherent risk when you go in and you change something as drastic as the title of the show. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that this is all kind of bullshitty. There's nothing behind it that actually says that this is going to happen. Like even the leakers and the pooflingers are talking about this in very hyperbolic language. Yeah, I know.
So like, quote this, if that, if and shoulda, woulda, coulda. Well, they shoulda and they woulda and they coulda, woulda, but it is, quote, the end, maybe not. I mean, that's pretty much what that's
I mean, I do see what some people are saying, though. Like this story, if you follow it to its logical conclusion, it does have a very limited shelf life. Like, I don't think that you can continue on this particular same story thread for 10 seasons, I feel like you maybe juice 5 out of this, and then after that, you're really stretched.
Well, yeah, it's just, I mean, the universe has to get bigger. It has to get bigger at the end of season 2. It's no longer father and son. It is, holy shit, Din is now in possession of a tool that essentially makes him the ruler of Mandalore. He wants nothing to do with it, yet he just became friends with the lady that should be the ruler of Mandalore, yet she somehow now believes that she has to earn it the right way, where before she didn't believe that. And that's fine. I mean, I think that they're just showing us, or she now believes the reason she failed after claiming the saber in Rebels is because she didn't win it outright. And, you got to remember, Bo-Katan is fucked up, okay? Just go rewatch Clone Wars Season 4 and 5. I mean, until it literally takes Darth Maul killing Pre Vizsla to get her to realize that she is not thinking correctly and she's being a piece of shit. I mean, in Season 4, she helps burn down, like, just these... They look like, Native Americans, and they burn down their fucking village just to make a point. And she's up there like lighting shit up and, I mean, killing kids. She's not, I mean, maybe she's morphed into it by the time she's in Mandalorian. It seems like she is a little more ethical and regal-like and wants to do the right thing and wants to get Mandalore back on track from whatever the fuck the Empire did to it. But she was a very disturbed individual, and her choices in life led to the death of her sister, the takeover of Mandalore by Darth fucking Maul. So she she's not the heroine that she may have been portrayed as in The Mandalorian. I mean, she's a hard ass and she can kick ass, but the way she's handled her life has not been ideal. Okay. Yeah. So there's going to be some fucking problems probably between her and Din. And like Nick said, that's things should start to open up into, all right, well, why are all the Mandalorians in hiding because of the Imperial occupation? What the fuck was this occupation? Why was it so bad? What is this? What was it? The March of Tears, or what Gideon call it? Like there's like a name for the night that Mandalorians can look at as the night where the Empire just came in and shoved its penis down their collective throats. All that can be explored now, which is clearly going to rip the lid off of the Mandalorian's little universe that we've seen so far, which has just been the fucking Razor Crest, Din, Grogu, and then his random friends that he checks in on every season for a particular episode. So yeah, I mean, it's going to have to, I would think, fully expand into, okay, what is the Remnant doing and trying to steal Grogu?
I mean, here's your easiest one, honestly. If you're going to change the title, it's The Mandalorians with an S.
There you go.
That's your easiest one.
Or another one where you could keep branding somewhat. You just call it the Grogu.
Yeah.
And then people will know, or fuck it, they don't even know that. The Baby Yoda. There you go.
Yeah, it's a Baby Yoda.
The casual fans would recognize it at that point, and then they'd come back in droves.
If you add an S, it does exactly what you need to now put across that Din is now taking control of Mandalore and the Mandalorian society, and then it literally is the most insignificant change you can make to your title ever.
Season 3 has so much potential because they just nipped the main storyline in the bud in season 2. Like they just fucking cut it off. That was the storyline for 16 episodes. It is gone. It is a full new page turn in a blank book. And they could go anywhere. They could go the Mandalorian stuff. They could go Din's past and why he became a Kool-Aid drinker, which, by the way, is from the same people that Bo-Katan used to hang out with. Like, I mean, she is I don't know if they consider her a founding member, but she was fucking Pre Vizsla's right-hand lady. She was his lieutenant in Death Watch. The crazy people that made Din nuts in his helmet. You can't take it off. You can't take it off. You're going to die. All this other goofy shit. This is the way, right? But you also have to, you can't just completely leave what the Remnant was doing through Gideon. You got the Thrawn mentions. I mean, there's so much potential for this show to go in. And as Nick says in the write-up, if it's a case of Roseanne turning into the Connors, it might not be that big of a deal. I just look at it from a business standpoint, and I don't give a fuck. I mean, if you're staying in the same timeline with the same characters, why change the name? It just seems like a waste of money on like dumb shit that fans would never even see. Like Nick was saying, like, oh, you got to replace your letterhead, your templates, your calendars, this, that, and the other thing. Everything would need to be thrown out.
Everything changes
and rebranded.
Everything changes.
All right.
So there we go. That's some potential there, but season 3 will be the true teller of whether or not we will see a Mandalorian title change.
All right, so these next ones are just PSA types. We're not going to spend a ton of time on here, but we got, it looks like some little shorts are coming to Disney Plus in September. This came through a leak of the Disney Plus Spain account that kind of posted a schedule. I wouldn't even call it a leak, but there was some interesting Star Wars mentions in the, essentially, this is what's coming to Disney Plus in September tweet. One of them being Star Wars Galaxy of Sounds, and it just says Episodios 1 through 7, and Cortos Disney Plus Original means a short. So I don't know. I mean, that could be kind of like, I don't know, Nick, if you've checked out the Biomes or the other Star Wars content they put on Disney Plus, where it's kind of not really a show. It's more just passive learning about shit. Yeah. Like this almost sounds like Star Wars Galaxy of Sounds. It's either going to be like little shorts showing how they make sounds that are popular from or are famous from Star Wars, or maybe it's just, you know, like they go over like, oh, this is where this sound became famous in Star Wars, and this is this is how it was made.
That's what I get the feeling for that one. Yeah, for sure.
And then the other one, and this came from, this just goes to show you like how hardcore Star Wars fans are. But they found a listing on Amazon with a Wampa T-shirt, right? That you can see it right now on the live stream. It's actually kind of a cool looking shirt. It's a stylized look of the Wampa, but it said it's for Star Wars Galaxy of Creatures. And if you read the listing, it goes into say Star Wars Galaxy of Creatures is a series of 12 animated shorts that explore Star Wars wildlife with heartwarming and hilarious vignettes. So Nick, this is why this is PSA material. If you got kids, or if you're just like me and anything Star Wars, you'll at least push a button and look at it. Keep an eye out. Looks like both of these little series of shorts could be coming to the Disney Plus service or streaming network in September. Galaxy of Sounds for sure. Galaxies of Creatures might show up in October, but there you go. And the other little PSA, and I actually found this to be a pretty great looking trailer, but we got our first trailer for the Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales special, which we now know is coming to Disney Plus on October 1st. And if you are a fan of other Disney or other Lego Star Wars shorts, be it the Droids Tales or the Yoda Chronicles, or hell, even the new holiday special, you're gonna enjoy this. The trailer's pretty good. It sets up what the show's going to be about, and essentially, it's going to take place after Tross, and Poe and BB-8 have to crash land on Mustafar, where they find that Graballa the Hutt has taken ownership of Vader's former castle, and it's like they're trying to turn it into some sort of haunted house or museum.
It's like a casino.
It's like an entertainment or destination they're trying to set up. But within the special itself, there are going to be 3 specific tales related to Star Wars fans, and they'll be coming through the character Vinay, who is a former Vader loyalist voiced by Tony Hale. And the 3 tales you're going to get are going to be The Lost Boy, which is going to be a story about how young Ben Solo first met Ren of Knights of Ren fame. You'll also get the Dueling Monstrosities, which is going to kind of imagine Darth Maul and General Grievous's rebirth, as they both were kind of Frankensteinish like characters, if you think about it. And then finally, you have the Wookiee's Paw, and it's going to kind of do a what if on Luke Skywalker's life if he was allowed to have his wishes granted by a Wookiee paw. And it looks like Luke actually gets himself into the Imperial Navy and ends up flying for his dad. So I think it's going to provide some of those fun Lego Star Wars hijinks that we've all come to, or at least me, know and love. So October 1st should be hitting Disney Plus.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. If you're into that type of shit. All right. Well.
Yeah, it'll probably be a quick watch.
Before we get into the fan segment, you know what we like to do about this time, and that is to honor and celebrate our sponsor. Right? So just let me get all the proper graphics up there. Hell, I might even pull up the site today to help us in our latest read. Yes, you know it. We're heading out to Manscaped.com, my friends, because it is that time to fill you in. Fantasy football draft season is upon us. Did you know that, Nick? I had one on Sunday. I got one tonight.
I just finished one.
There
yes,
you go.
Indeed.
So anyways, it's time you put the PP back in PPR League with the sponsor of today's show. You know them. We love them. Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming just launched the new Performance Package 4.0. So don't neglect your balls like the Packers front office has been neglecting Aaron Rodgers. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS. This will help you tame that Troy Polamalu in your pants. All right, Nick, so we've been talking about the Performance Package 4.0 since July. We use it ourselves. We love it. It's up here on the stream. If you're watching the stream, this is the Performance Package 4.0 that we have been gushing about. In particular, the Lawnmower 4.0 that comes with it, and it's ceramic-headed blades, so we're not nicking ourselves while we are grooming our nether regions. So far since July, I've been nick-free, not my co-host. I'm talking down there when I'm trimming up my pubes. But I've just smelled better this summer thanks to the Performance Package 4.0. In particular, our favorite, the Crop Reviver spray and the ball deodorant that comes in the Performance Package 4.0. So that's what we want you to check out on Manscaped.com, where you can use the code SWTS to save 20% off and get free shipping. All right, because that Lawnmower 4.0, it's got a 4000K LED. It's got a multi-function button that even has a travel lock to engage so it doesn't turn on and start trimming up all your other toiletries as you make that trip. Don't forget about the Weed Whacker, which is also included. This is the ear and nose hair trimmer that spins at an impressive 9,000 RPM to rip those whiskers out of those holes that you don't want them coming out of. And like I said, my favorite, and I never forget to use the Crop Preserver ball deodorant and the Crop Reviver later on in the day to help my little bench warmers be on their A game. All right. So Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts in the Performance Package 4.0. And these are the Manscaped boxers that Nick vouched for on his hike up the Rocky Mountains. No sweat, completely aerated. It has the wicking stuff. They're beautiful. So you're going to get the boxers and the shed travel bag if you head to manscaped.com right now and purchase the Performance Package 4.0. All right, my friends, don't forget, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. If your significant other is nagging you about how much time you put into your fantasy team, you might as well gift them some beautiful balls with Manscaped.
There we go.
All right, my friends, and hey, we appreciate, I know some of you reached out through our Discord, which, by the way, if you want to join, please use our Linktree link in Instagram to come join in. You just kind of ask questions about, like, hey, we always hear you talking about Manscaped. How can we truly help? It is, really anything is a help to us, but we are evaluated on what people buy. So it's not so much, no, you don't have to feel like you got to make a bunch of transactions. It's just, hey, any order we appreciate, and it will go to our boss at Manscaped, and then she will make the decision to chop our heads off or not in October.
Yeah.
All right?
Doesn't have to be the expensive stuff. You can get anything.
Yeah.
You can get anything you want with our code.
Be it refills. I mean, I'm probably going to use it to get a new can of the ball deodorant and a new jar of the shower gel, as I've become huge fans of them through this campaign. So like we've always said, this isn't bullshit. We're not blowing smoke up your ass. We use it. We love it. We endorse it. So any help you can give us, we appreciate it. Look at it this way. It's better than a Patreon. You're technically giving us money, but you're actually getting something besides early access to our stupid show. All right, there you go. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this fan segment up and running. Nick, we had a question of the week that kind of focused on one of our topics, the Boba's motives. If you do want to get involved in the fan segment, we have 2 ways to do so. Your best portal for getting informed outside of StarWars.net is using at Star Wars Time Show on Instagram. So every Tuesday morning, I will put out a prompt for the question of the week. Those fans that care to respond will go over the comments, and we'll feature upwards of 5 of them during the fan segment on Tuesday's live stream. The other way you can get involved is through our Top 5 Featured Artists segment, our bread and butter. Our most iconic segment for our diehard fans is, again, to follow us through Instagram at Star Wars Time Show. Tag us in all Star Wars related posts and use the hashtag Star Wars Time Show. And if you're lucky and if you're good, Nick may choose your work to be featured on our live stream during the top 5 end segment to every live stream that we do. All right, Nick, so let's go ahead and address the fan question of the week, which specifically was asking our fans who they thought Boba may be seeking revenge on based on one of our topics for the week. If Slack ever feels like opening, I will throw it up on the screen. There you go.
I got the... All right. Okay, so the first one is from who?
This is. I'll take this one because I remember their names based on their avatars. Because I'm not kidding. I literally look at everyone's Star Wars posts every day for at least an hour a day. This one in particular comes from Platform 327, I believe is the name. I think you even chose them for top 5 this week, possibly.
Indeed, I did.
So here we go. I can see this being a massively unpopular answer, but always felt like Boba and Solo had more history to what we saw in the OT. And it was Han's fault Boba ended up in the Sarlacc pit. But nobody wants to see a de-aged Harrison Ford give Alden Ehrenreich a second chance. I felt like he'd done a great job as Solo. It can't be easy following in Ford's footsteps. So I think what Platform is saying is like, yeah, we could include Han, but I don't care if it's modern timeline or flashbacks. Don't give us de-aged Harrison.
Yeah. Also, I don't think that Harrison would actually do it.
Fuck no.
Harrison would be like, go fuck yourself. He's like, you've already cast another Han Solo. Use him. Bye. Leave me alone.
Hey, Bat, thank you. We just saw that post in there. Bat2797 has just supported us with a weed whacker. We speak your name.
There you go.
We speak your name, Bat.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, Nick. Up next, I gave you a triple decker here, but it's pretty much because they all said the same thing. So there you go.
Yeah, I know, right? So Chameleon, except where the E's are, it's 3, says Han Solo. Without him, he not fall in Sarlacc.
Yes, we read it just like they're written, my friends. Yeah.
Jordan Cullup says, would love to see Han Solo. So would we, sir. And then Mr. Miyagi says Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and meeting Cad Bane. Yeah, I think those would all be
people
good
don't know,
options.
but Mr. Miyagi is Mr. Miyagi's cousin. Yeah, there's Miyagi's and Miyagis.
Related. If you saw the Karate Kid where he went to Japan, you know that they are related.
Man, I cannot wait for Cobra Kai season 4. It's like
same.
As soon as I gave it years. You gotta remember this show started on fucking YouTube. Does everyone remember that? Cobra Kai season 1 was like when YouTube Premium first came out and they were charging for it on there. And now thankfully Netflix has picked it up. But I'm dying to see season 4. I'm reading interviews from like the guy that plays Robbie to find out like, any information, like what's everyone going to be getting into. But anyways, sorry. A lot of people going Han Solo, man. I don't know. I mean, it does make a lot of sense. I just don't know how they pull it off and honor that big of a character.
We'll see. Tones up next does not say Han. He says, I'd like to see Black Sun come into it somehow and bring Prince Zizor, played by Michael
He's even got casting out there.
Somehow. He's got the casting, yeah. Fennec gets taken up by Black Sun in a power play for Jabba's castle, and Boba extracts revenge on him, Zizor, in a showdown. I think they made Prince Zizor canon again, right? Like he made his way into one of the comics.
I don't know if a comic, but in Clone Wars, the final season, hell, even in season 5, I mean, they loop in with the Black Suns, and let's be real, they all look like Prince Zizor. I mean,
that's very true.
I forget the name of the alien race that
Faline.
Yeah, Faline. They all pretty much look the same. They all have. Yeah, they all look like She-Hulk with samurai ponytail buns.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it would be cool. I mean, that would be a real deep cut, but but I think that they're not afraid to do it. I do feel like that would take up a large majority of the entire plot, though, if that was to take place. Like what Tones is suggesting would be like the whole plot for the season, because that seems like it would be relatively involved.
Well, I don't know if you remember, Nick, but at some point in time, we took a report from one of the flingers that it wasn't even a flinger. Mm-hmm. It was on Reddit where a buddy's friend was like an extra on Book of Boba for some of the bigger scenes, and he made it seem like Boba's going to kind of have a main rival for a little bit, and this rival, they're going to have at least one or two fights where the rival and Boba don't really get taken out, but some of their underlings do. But then they're, as the season heads towards the end, it sounded like the rival and Boba are actually going to have to work together to take on a larger threat. If we think about it now with some of the information we're spinning from Star Wars Newsnet on the vengeance factor, it all kinds of lines up. I mean, maybe this rival is someone from his past and he is trying to seek vengeance, and they do kind of, it very well could be Cad Bane. I mean, they could be going back and forth as equals. And it gets to the point where they're like, this other force comes in and they go, you know what, motherfucker, it's time to get back to how we were. Let's work as if we just took on a contract, put our beef aside, and we've got to do this. We've got to take this faction out or we're fucked. Interesting how some of this stuff starts to come together as more information comes out. All right, up next.
Definitely. All right, next up, we have Digographer. He says, I'd love it if there was a Western-style duel between Cad Bane and Boba Fett. If that happened, I'd be satisfied. So, Cad Bane again. Mm-hmm. TBS Data Vault says, I'd love to see him go ape shit on Mace Windu for going all Tori Hanzu on Daddy Dearest. Hashtag Mace lives. So he's suggesting that Mace is alive and that Boba Fett hunts him down.
People don't be shocked if Mace does come back, because
I was gonna say,
I mean, let's be real. Darth Maul was fucking chopped in half and thrown down a bottomless pit.
Yeah,
and came back multiple times. Mace Windu just lost a hand and got pushed out a window. Right, he got shocked a little bit, but we saw both Anakin and Obi-Wan eat some Force lightning, and it didn't kill them per se.
Luke Skywalker got roasted.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was literally smoking. I mean, literally smoking out of his shirt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't think they have to do it, but of course, if they did do it, it would be a fucking huge canon moment to bring this guy back. And let's be real. Boba has the biggest boner of revenge against one Mace Windu. Plain and simple.
Yeah. It would be nice.
Hashtag Mace lives.
Get a little bit of revenge. So there we go. And that's all the questions for this week. And that's going to roll us into the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. And like Matt says, if you want to get involved in this little segment that we have every week, make sure to tag us in all of your Star Wars posts on Instagram at Star Wars Time Show, and use the hashtag Star Wars Time Show for maximum visibility. There we go. All right.
Holy shit. Before we get into this, other Sideshow collectors may know what I'm talking about here, but I just got your monthly order summary from Sideshow email.
Oh no. Oh no.
Dude, I could keep scrolling until like tomorrow. My God, what have I done? And there he is right there. There's our boy Boba Fett staring at me right in the face. I'm just going to delete that email and pretend I didn't see it. Oh, shit.
I'm not aware. I didn't know it was that many.
Oh, no.
Good stuff. Good segue into what is usually a very toy pick heavy.
Oh, my God.
5.
I love this. I'm so glad you picked this one here.
Yeah. So this week, it actually kicks off with a non-toy piece. This is from I'm just going to say Armin Blaster, ARMYN BLASTER. It could be Army in Blaster, who knows? But the art piece that we're looking at here is a traditional, I guess you would say, like a hand drawn / colored.
Sure. I mean, let's not pretend like we know what the fuck. Yeah, it's real ass paint, and I'd say the style, Nick, if you agree, or disagree, let me know. But the style is very manga. Is it manga?
Yeah,
right?
Manga.
You don't say manga, right? It's manga.
Yeah, manga.
It's just like it's
But
not
anyway,
shang.
it's
It's shung. Shung.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing here is an imagined version of older Omega in full Bad Batch uniform, full Bad Batch armor, but she I think each piece of the armor is inspired by somebody from the Bad Batch. So she has like a hunter type headband.
Yep.
She's got the bandolier on,
still has her bow, still has her light bow.
Yeah, it's still got her light bow on her back. So you can look at the armor and you can see individually inspired pieces from different members of the Bad Batch. And it really is it's a really fantastic manga style interpretation
Nick,
of
do
Omega.
You, and who knows, this could be completely coincidental, but don't you think this looks like an anime version of some of Johnny Osage Avenue's adult Omega concepts?
The custom concept.
Yeah, I mean, he literally has one, an Omega that is wearing the full-on gray and red Bad Batch armor, and the bandanas here and the other thing. Like I said, Army and Blaster, it could be completely coincidental. Great minds think alike and all that type of stuff. But it does. I mean, it feels like they're channeling the same thoughts about an adult Omega, and that she is going to embrace her brother's armor, maybe their mantra moving forward. But I dig. I think this Omega looks absolutely brilliant. I love the anime style.
It does, yeah.
I love the real ass paint and the way it makes it look. It's just it's a great piece of art.
Yeah. So I mean, and if you look at Armian, the page, that her style is very kind of like manga, and it actually translates over very well to multiple different Star Wars pieces that she's done, and then also her other focuses as well.
Do you know if this is okay, you're right.
I say she because I'm looking at one of the drawings, and it's a feminine hand.
Well,
I don't know. So
she also has the feminine symbol in her bio, because I was looking while you're dropping all the she's and she's. I was like, well, we better make sure. But it's up there.
So you're right. I didn't even see that too. But yes, it is a
check out this.
So,
check out this Sabine. That's a good looking.
Yeah,
good
the Sabine
piece.
is sick. The Sabine is really good. So awesome stuff there. ARMYN Blaster on Instagram at Armin Blaster. Great concept here for Omega. Well done.
This is if you like the real ass artists like we do, this is a definite account to add to your daily scrolling.
Her stuff's fantastic. So make sure to give it a follow. Give the page a follow. So next up, we have at Sunset_Doom. Been on the top 5 before, and he has another Bad Batch shot. This one of Crosshair, kind of this may be from season 1, episode 1.
It's kind of like the opener where they're in the snowy forest.
Yeah, the forest with the snow. He's kneeled down, got his he doesn't have his rifle drawn to an actual pointing at somebody, but he has it kind of at the ready, staring off in the distance in a one knee down pose. And really what I liked about this shot more than anything was just the environmental effects that Sunset Doom got in there. Yeah, good snowfall.
This is his style, man. He excels at. And it's a technique I use and I need to use more. I actually got out. I got out for the first time since last week, and did an outdoor shoot. And boy, oh boy, nice. Was it refreshing. And I now know what I've been missing, and it's just being outside. I clearly do not like shooting indoors, so good on me for waiting until September and almost the end of good weather where I live to realize that. But anyways, back to Sunset Doom. And this is something I use in my outdoor stuff, where you put black poster board behind you so you're not getting all your yard and bullshit in there. And what that does is, it gives you a nice dark color to contrast the particle effects off of. So, Sunset always has some nice backlight coming in to pick up this. I'm guessing he's using flour or baking soda or something. Uses his hose a lot for air, for rain, or canned air for that type of stuff. But he does. It just looks like he goes out to his backyard, plops them down, throws up the backdrop, gets the hose or the sifter out, and here we go. So it just goes to show you what proper lighting can do and how it can make parts of the background kind of pop and stand out. And like I said, in sunset shots, it's the way he uses the backlighting to really get the particle effects to pop. So yeah, good looking stuff. And I'm guessing he went with that pose because that gun's so fucking long, Nick, that he's probably using it as a prop to get Crosshair to actually not fall over.
To lean, but
it also looks like a good pose. You know what I mean? It's kind of you get a 2 for 1 there. You get a built-in kind of stand for the figure, and it's a good looking pose.
Very believable for sure. So well done at Sunset_Doom on the IG. Well done. And this is our at Platform 327 shot that you mentioned earlier. And what we have here is it's a beautiful kind of silhouetted shot of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this is going to be older Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine, and you have the dual suns in the background. And it's like that. It's like the same time of day of that iconic Luke Skywalker from behind shot where you kind of get the sun setting, but also the second sun rising. So you still have like a bit of a twilight there.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's
the 2 suns.
It's the silhouette aspect that I love the most. I mean, a lot of times silhouette shots just they can be very artistic looking, right? It adds like a level of culture to the shot, right? Because you really don't get to see your subject at all outside of its silhouette. It's outline. I mean, it looks like we're looking at a shadow. If you weren't a Star Wars fan, you could argue you wouldn't even know who we are looking at. But anyone that's a Star Wars fan instantly knows that that's old Ben Kenobi chilling on the Dune Sea after he probably just hit his spice pipe, and he's enjoying the evening and the sunset, which we've learned through the Mando just kind of makes Tatooine look kind of purple at night, right? Because him and that one dude had to camp out when Fennec had him pinned down.
Pinned down.
But no, I mean, this shot, it's very artistic looking. I would say it's got a kind of a Chespix 66 feel to it.
That's what I was going to say. At first, I thought it was Chespix because it is that typical beautiful outdoor type of shot.
It's a masterful sunset shot that Platform _327 got here. I just like it. I mean, it looks like it could have been a simple setup. I don't know if lights are being used to simulate the suns, or if one of the suns is real and the other one's a light, or if the other sun is completely digital. But you can't really tell, and that's what makes it a quality shot. And like I said, sometimes silhouette shots they get me, because it does take, I mean, really any type of photography, and it makes it feel more like an art piece to me.
Yeah, for sure. So beautiful work at Platform _327 on Instagram. Make sure to go follow. Next up is at Tanks TENKS 666, and this is a pretty fucking badass mashup / crossover shot between. It's a Predator holding what looks like Maul's lightsaber, like the one half of it.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, and it's got it ignited, holding up kind of across his body, and it's just like the Predator himself is such a menacing character. Then to add a lightsaber on top of that is pretty fucking awesome. So overall, just really clean shot. I'm assuming. Oh, he also has Maul's head attached to his belt right there too. So not only does he have Maul's saber, he has cleaved Maul's head from his body. Forgot to mention that, and is now wielding his blade. So this is a pretty clean ass shot, and I would imagine that this has got to be like a Hot Toys or some sort of like high quality figure of this Predator here, because it looks amazing.
You know what, Nick? And it's not. I maybe it is. No,
really?
No. I mean, because I can see some of the plastic in there. But that mall head that he's got attached to his hip does look like a Hot Toys mall head. So I don't fucking know. I mean, and I guess that's the beauty of the shot, right? I mean, it does look like a real Predator. I mean, yeah, if you really want to study it, you can see some of the reflection off the plastic. But I believe that's just like a normal NECA Predator figure, but I could be completely wrong.
Wow. Very solid. Very solid. I mean,
yeah, I like the mashup. It's a great franchise mashup. And at this point, with the very clear Easter eggs in the actual canonized Star Wars comics of literally a xenomorph skull and a Predator helmet, even Star Wars creators and writers kind of tip their hat to the whole is Predator, Alien, and Star Wars in a shared universe type of deal. So I like it. And who knows, would a Predator be able to best a Sith? I'm always going to go with it. If you have force powers, if you have force power and the only other thing you have is weaponry.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we have the Mandalorians to make a case for that, and they could kill Jedi, and they killed them efficiently. I mean, that's why their armor and weapons are the way they are. But I don't know, man. I still find someone like Vader or Maul being able to pretty much take on any other franchise character if they felt like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be close for sure.
Oh, look
All
at
right,
you.
Last one this week.
Throwing a bone to Mr. Gregu, huh?
Yeah. At Gregu_snaps has a very nice shot of Mr. Wrecker shooting his way through a battle. It almost looks like it's a shot taken from like the training ground fight in the Bad Batch. You know, like that on Camino, they have that little wherever that battle took place between the Batch and all the droids. The setup that Greg has here looks like it could be a part of that little battle. And no, I like the pose he's got. I like the explosion in the background. I know Greg loves his explosions.
You gotta remember that's just all sparkler based. I mean, this motherfucker buys like he wraps so many sparklers, he creates like a 3-inch wide bundle. And then he just fucking lights it and sees what's happening.
Lights him on fire.
It's like he almost kind of governed himself this time and didn't just go full on explosion in the background. But no, I liked it too. I mean, sometimes we fuck with Greg and he fucks with us, but this one definitely stood out from Mr. @Gregu_snaps. And he's not here, but he's dealing with some personal stuff with his father, so we're not gonna get on his case. But I know if he was here, he would be smiling that Nick chose him for the top 5.
He did drop a comment.
What do you say?
On the
like,
post
fuck you, Nick. It's about time.
Yeah, something to that degree.
Okay.
He said it was like a celebratory moment for him for sure.
Right.
So @Gregu_snaps on the IG. Make sure to go give that man a follow. He says, "Motherfuckers made the top 5. Might have to take more time off. Thanks, boys." That's what he says. So glad that it gave him a little bit of joy in this period of time. So that's the end of the top 5, rounding out with Gregu snaps, and that's the end of the show for this week. So Matt,
we'll do it. Are you seeing this last post in the stream? Is that anything you want to take a stab at real quickly?
Is it possible that Anakin brought balance to the Force in Episode 3 by evening out the quantity of Jedi rather than having fulfilled the prophecy in 6? That was always one way that I justified it. Like for those people who asked me when I at that time, they're like, "What about the balance thing?" I was like, "Well, technically, there's only 2 Sith and 2 Jedi left." But as we found out now, that's not even
There's
true.
A ton of fucking Jedi.
Jedi who escaped. Yeah. Like at the time, you could have made that argument like right after seeing Episode 3, but then as soon as you get into Rebels and all of the other
you got Kanan, Ezra, Ahsoka, this guy, that girl, Cal Kestis.
There's too many that actually survived for that to be a legitimate argument.
And honestly, it's even false now in 6 because Ahsoka's around. I guess she's not technically a Jedi, but she practices mostly on the light side. You got Luke. Yeah. Palpatine was now still out there. So
like his essence.
Whisper, I don't know if you're being serious or not, but it's just I don't think it's even worth worrying about anymore. The whole Chosen One balance and prophecy was kind of just fucking aborted, in my opinion. It's just,
I say they kind of let that shit go. Yeah, after a while, they were like,
it means about nothing at this point in time.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Good question, though.
Well, hey, we're here to answer them. Good, bad, or indifferent. We're here to answer them. All right, my friends, thank you for sitting through another episode of the Star Wars Time Show. If you liked what you either heard or saw, depending on how you consume the show, all we ask is to head on over to StarWarsTime.net and make sure you're officially subscribed to our platforms, be it the audio-only platforms. We're on anywhere you would want to get a podcast, and if we're not, it's probably because that podcast network sucks. If you prefer the live stream stuff and you like seeing the faces in the black and white setup we got going on, you can also find our YouTube channel from StarWarsTime.net. Just scroll down a little bit. We have a subscribe button. It takes all thought away from your decision or from the action to subscribe. We make it as easy as possible. Or if you're an avid YouTuber, just search for Star Wars Time Show, or as Nick has set up a few months ago, youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show will also take you to the promised land. Because in the end, it's all about Star Wars time. There's always time for it. We know it. You know it. We just always want more people to understand it. And that's why we need the help of the dedicated fandos out there. And if we're lucky, any new listeners. If you are new and you did dig it, we'd love for you to leave a rating and review on the podcast platforms. If you're just doing the YouTube, obviously a sub, notifications, comment, and likes will go a long way for us. And don't forget, if you want to support the show, we're not going to just ask for donations. We'd love for you to head on over to Manscaped.com and use SWTS to get free shipping and 20% off your order, be it the Performance Package 4.0 or any of the quality products that Manscaped has for your testicular care needs. Because there's always time for Star Wars time and making sure your man bits don't stink. All right? Truly. It's always time for Star Wars Time Show. And we all know this. Explain it to the noobs. If you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you. Always.